What's up, good people? We are live. We are back in here with another one. This is definitely going to be a great show, going to be an important show. Going to be talking to a brother who some of you have probably seen in this space, Christian Hutchinson. I'm going to be talking to him about, as you see in the thumbnail, it says, how did he get rich? Something we don't ever talk about that much when you got brothers who are brothers. They're brothers and they become successful and they acquire an impressive net worth. We very rarely hear the nuts and bolts story of how they did it, how they started from the bottom. Now they here. So we about to hear all of that today. We about to get into that. So strap on in, hit the like button, whether you're catching it right now live or whether you're catching it not live right now live or you're catching it after it's uploaded. Hit the like button. Let's get ready to go. Strap on in. Let's get ready to go. I'm trying to find that intro. I never can find it. Strap on in. Let's get ready to go. Let's get it.
Peace, folks. This is X from TPOT Media. Open your mind and wake your black ass up. You know what time it is. Hit that damn like button as you make your way in the door. Grab a seat, settle in, get ready. It's the Grown Man Hour with your host, my man, Bernard Riley.
Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Mumia Obsidian Ali. You know who I am. I need no introduction, right? And you're listening to the Grown Man Hour with my man Bernard Riley, heard weekdays right here on YouTube. What do you think about that? How about that? Now let's get back on with the show. Thank you.
What's going on? What's up, good people? What's up, good people? Welcome back. Glad to be here. Glad to be in the building. And like I said, we are joined by Christian Hutchinson. Welcome to the show. Oh, shoot. You muted. You're muted. You got to unmute yourself.
Yep. Hi, Bernard. Thank you for having me. It's going to everyone strap in. This is going to be an interesting ride.
Yeah, definitely. Glad to have you on the show. My first introduction to you is you randomly took the link on my show, and yeah, definitely whenever you come up, definitely a pleasure to hear from you. You always got insightful things to add to the question, and the first thing that you passively threw out there is that you're a millionaire. That's something that you passively threw out there, and then we kind of stopped the show a little bit and talk to you about that. And I said to myself, hey, one day we're going to bring him on and talk to him more in depth about that. I think that's something that brothers definitely need to hear, the story of how people who, I hate that term, people who look like me people who look like me who who made it. Shout out to Savings Minus Debt in the building. He said, I'm all ears on this topic, like on topics like this. Absolutely. Shout out to Savings Minus Debt. But no, definitely, we definitely gotta get into it. But just give us starting out, just give us a little bit of your background, how you stumbled into this space, this online Black YouTube space, or by Black Manosphere, or Black whatever. How did you stumble into this space to even end up here being interviewed by me? How did all that happen?
So I've always just watched like YouTube stuff. So obviously, when the pandemic kicked off and people were home, I used to watch a lot. I've always watched a lot of Rogan. Uh, I've always watched a lot of independent media like The Hill. I'm a news junkie. I've been a news junkie since I was a kid. Growing up, my parents had subscriptions to Time, Newsweek, all those sort of weekly magazines, and we would read them. And my dad would kind of talk to us about what was going on in those magazines. That way, we understand the local, domestic, world events. Like we had subscriptions to 3 newspapers, and we would read them, and he would make us read everything else, and then we could read the sports section. Yeah. So he was always very want us to be informed about the world around us. So that's how. So YouTube feeds into that. You're saying YouTube feeds into that. Well, of course, I was looking at some stuff. I was looking at trying to find some stuff regarding some type of dress shoes to buy, and I stumbled upon Kevin Samuels. That this is like I was trying to figure out some dress shoes to buy. I was going to a wedding, and I needed my black dress shoes were kind of old, and I was like, let me just look for some dress shoes. I just kind of was looking to see what's out there, and then I was going to go up to the store up at like Somerset or one of the malls and get some shoes. And I stumbled upon one of his things, and so I watched a couple of his videos, and that was kind of the end of it. And then as other things started happening with how things were happening in the pandemic in terms of with social uprising and things like that, my algorithm led me down to this area, basically.
Huh. Interesting. So you stumbled into Kevin Samuels, and then you you went down a rabbit hole, and you ended up finding my channel and a bunch of other channels, I presume. That's more or less the story. Well, okay, cool. So real quick, you mentioned your dad. I might circle back to this because you talked about how your dad with the upbringing, the newspaper and everything. Was your dad a successful businessman?
My dad is a software engineer. Okay. He's a mechanical engineer by trade. He went to school for mechanical engineering in the early 70s. He got into computers like his 4th or 5th year of school. And so then he was working at, the auto companies here in Metro Detroit for years. Then he really kind of jumped into the software game in like the early 80s. He just kept on doing that. And he got like a master's in computer science in like the mid 90s, early mid 90s, stuff like that. So he's a worker, a professional. He's a working professional.
Yeah.
That's what he did. Yeah.
All right, cool. So let's go back to the beginning. Let's get the ball rolling on the story of how you came to be where you're at right now. Because as I understand, I mean, we're divulging a little personal information, but I mean, you it's sort of in the email show notes that you have a $3 million net worth. Okay, so we're gonna start all the way from the beginning of how you got there. Now I understand that you graduated high school in 2002. I graduated in 2001. So thank you for making me feel like I've done nothing with my life. But but anyway, moving on. You said you had some legal issues in 2004. Now, how you graduating high school in 2002 and having legal issues in 2004? And was that I take it that wasn't a like what the hell you do? You was on some pookie stuff. Like you got to
no, so it was just straight up immaturity. And actually it was a lot of ways a blessing in disguise because I had left the inner city as a as an elementary school kid, and what ended up happening was I was in an environment where I'm not saying I necessarily lost my black identity. I was still always identified as black, but had certain access and visibility that kind of removed me from certain things. And then when I started getting some legal issues, it let me know that I mean, even if so, backtrack. So when I moved, we left the inner city. We went to like a affluent suburb. I was very isolated. Okay, because I
Uh-huh.
was, because people
Wait,
used to ask.
what age? What age are you talking about now? Because you got some old pictures. Like this picture in the thumbnail, I take it you was still getting your inner city on around
No,
the time of
no,
this
this
picture.
no, this that's like 2003, 4 maybe.
Yeah, it says 2004.
Yeah, somewhere in there.
This
So
was
it's
so hold on, wait, yeah, this was right around the time of those legal problems. So that's what I'm like, what did you do?
so it was real petty stuff. It was just like underage drinking. It was driving on suspended license. I get popped for a seatbelt ticket. Don't pay it. Get driver's responsibility. You remember that game back in the day here in Michigan, right? The driver responsibility stuff. Like if
Hmm.
you, yeah. So it was just like a bunch of petty legal stuff. It just ran up to the point of because I wasn't taking care of business, I was starting to go to jail, and the stints were getting longer and longer and longer. And so it led me to the point of I actually had to drop out of college
Mm,
because I just couldn't because I was missing weeks of semesters because of my legal issues, because of petty legal issues, mainly due to immaturity.
mm. Got you. All right. So legal issues and all of that, aside, that was basically the run of the mill from 18 to 22 immaturity going on. But so anyway, you ended up graduating college in 2008. I
Yep,
understand it. That's
yep,
right. All right. And you met your wife in college. So there's that
yep,
that's that standard story. You met your wife in college. Okay.
yep,
So
yep. Yeah, but so some very important things happened in the interim from 2004 to 2006 that were very
okay.
important. That were very important.
Okay.
So I was having my legal issues, and what ended up happening was, me and my dad had kind of fell out because our parents had an ugly divorce and different things, and so I was in a situation where I was kind of like homeless. Okay,
Uh-oh.
and I was staying in a hotel and everything. So first thing happened was I was I got in some legal issues. I just got out of jail. I was in for like 10 days or something like that. I got out, and they were going to send me back. Okay, and so I
Mhm.
was kind of desperate. I went to my dad. I told him about the legal issues I had been having for like the last year and a half, and we hadn't talked in a while. And he was just like, "Okay, well." He went to court with me, and so they were going to send me up for like another 60 or 90 days because the judge was just fed up with me. I was missing appointments. I was just doing a bunch of stuff, not paid. I was just irresponsible stuff.
Mhm.
And so they're just sending everyone away and
Hold on,
everything.
real quick. I got background. Let me fix that. I gotta fix that. Okay, it should be all gone. All right, now go ahead.
And so what ends up happening is my dad goes to court with me, and he starts talking to the judge. He says, "Okay, I understand. How much does he owe? I owed like $750 or something like that." So my dad was like, "I'll pay it. We'll pay it. We'll pay that today." So the judge was like, "Well, he needs to do X, Y, Z. This is this." My dad said, "Okay, I tell you what. If he does, I'm going to make sure he does it. If he doesn't do it, you can take him in." And so then what ends up happening is, I go home with him, and he says, "Okay, Christian, you're going to do this, this, and this. That's all you're going to do the next 2, 3 weeks. You're going to get this done." So in that 2, 3 time frame, I get a job at a bank, paid pretty good money. Okay, not good money now, but good money for that time frame, right? Especially for the point I was at. And so I was able to. So then I was working, and I was able to get a part. I still did. I was able to keep my apartment I had for a little longer, and then eventually I had to leave the apartment, and so then I was just kind of couch surfing for like 3, 4 months. This is like this is like the spring summer of 2005. So then, like, I'm just hanging out, doing a bunch of stuff, just partying, hanging out. And so then finally comes about Labor Day 2005. I wake up and I have this like epiphany that my life is spiraling and I got to do something. And so I call my dad and I say, hey, I need help. I'm really tired. I was like exhausted. I felt like I was like, my nerves were shot. Like I was about to go crazy. And I said, I need help. I said, I want to get back in college and I want to go to
Oh, during
school.
this time, okay, yeah, I think you did say that you were out of college.
Yep.
Right, because
Yep.
yeah, you had sent me a lot of pictures. This is when you were in college, all right?
Yeah. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
This is after I got back in.
Okay. This must have been before. Well, we'll get into that because like they can't see because Gail super chat is in the way. It says good morning, Bernard, Christian, and Chad. Dudes in the picture with you throwing up gang signs and the whole works right now. But anyway, we're gonna circle back into that. But okay, you were out of school.
Yep.
You were basically like a temporary college dropout or
Yep.
whatever.
Yep. And so my dad said, okay, I'll see. So I'm staying in this hotel in Warren, Michigan by the GM Tech Center. Like I had negotiated like a rate because it was like $80 a day. I told him I could only afford $45 a day. And so the guy, he took 2 weeks to payment. And so I had a place to stay for 2 weeks. So my dad said he'd get back to me. So this is like Labor Day weekend. Like this is like Monday or Tuesday after Labor. This is either Labor Day or the day after. I called my dad. So then he said he'll let me know. So my dad was remarried and there was complications on that side with things. So then
Hold on, wait, real quick. Why did you fall out with your dad over the divorce?
It was just they, when children get involved in grown people stuff, because there was just a lot of mess going on in terms of how my parents started going at each other. And I was like 14, 15. So I was fully aware of everything. I I was in the middle of all that. So
I
it
guess
was
the
just
reason I'm asking, do you looking back at it now as a grown man, well, I think it's nearly 40, closing in on 40, I think, or give or take.
uh,
But do you look back at it now like you probably unfairly blamed your dad and was unfairly mad at your dad?
yes, because of the information I was being fed uh was my dad never said anything about what was going on with there. It was a lot of mess. We could have a whole other show about that whole
All right.
situation.
Yeah, I
Uh,
know.
there was a whole bunch of things going on. Uh, there's a lot of things I know now that changed my perspective on it. Even in fact, when I moved in with my dad, there was information I found out regarding the divorce that my dad had never divulged to us because it was in
Yeah.
court documents that really, which I was suspicious of things prior to that. But again, you're only hearing information from one way, but it was in court documents what happened with some of the stuff that happened. And, so that's how that happened. So anyway,
Yeah. Only reason I ask because a lot of us do that. A lot of us do that when there's situations involving mom and dad. We automatically side with mom, and dad is the villain, and mom is the hero, and that's how we always automatically look at it. But when we get older and we become men, we analyze it with different eyes, and we're like, oh, man, it's a little different. But anyway, like you said, that's a whole that could be a whole nother show.
yeah. So what ends up happening is so he calls me back. So he calls me back after like 5 or 6 days. He said, "Okay, I want you to come over to the house." So I went over there, and so he asked me, what was up, and I told him, what was going on, and this is what I was thinking about. He was just listening, and he said, "Okay." So then he started basically replaying my life choices from about the age of 16, 17 until that point. He just went like blow by blow, decisions I made, the
Mm-hmm.
outcomes, and and it was kind of sobering how he talked about it. So, but sorry, he promised if I did better, he wouldn't bring it up anymore. Sorry, sorry,
Okay.
sorry. So what he did was he slid a contract across the table, and he highlighted some things we were going to do. And he said, if you do those things, I'll make sure you get back in school, and you go anywhere you want in the country. It's a one-way ticket, and that's it. That's what he said. So
What were those things? What were those things he said if you do them?
he said, I got to keep a car. I got to go to work, which I always did. I never had a problem keeping a car, go to work. Keep a car, go to work. If his wife asked me to do something, do it. Curfew was midnight. If I was not home at midnight, I couldn't come back. If I was not home for 3 days in a row, it's considered I've moved out. He also, I had to cut the grass or shovel the snow. And I had to go to church with them twice a month. And he reserved the right to drug and alcohol test me at any time.
Mm.
And no girls I cannot have any girls pull up in the driveway or in the cul-de-sac or in the house.
Mm. It sounds fairly reasonable. It could be. I understand some of that could be restricted because you're about 24 at this time, right?
No, I'm this is like 2005. This is 2005. Okay. So I'm like 21.
Okay. All right. Yeah. No. So yeah, all of that that all sounded pretty reasonable for him to him trying to get your life back in order. It still was a certain degree of freedom, but
yeah,
a certain element of structure that he added on there. With, dang, right when I said structure, KD said structure right with me. Shout out to KD in the chat. Real quick before we move on, shout out to Before the Billions. Says shout out to my boy Christian. Absolutely. And shout out to Before the Billions. I make sure y'all subscribe to that brother. Another very intelligent brother in this space. So that was deep. So you was going down the deep end. Your dad stopped you, basically, pulled you back to reality, got you to get everything back on course. Before we get deep into you getting things back on course, I gotta take us back, because like I said, this picture right here where it looked like where like you were cats throwing up gang signs. Like what was going on in your life at this point? Like, cause they over there, they over there set tripping and all kind of stuff. What was going on in your life right here, man?
I mean, so I was just doing I was just doing a bunch of stuff. I was going to dog fights. I was doing all sorts of stuff. I was just doing all sorts of weird stuff at that point. Just hanging out. I was doing a little bit of everything.
All right, and this was in 2006. So timeline wise, go ahead.
Yeah. So these guys, they were just probably just the one guy. His name starts with the R, so that's supposed to be an R. The other guy, he might have been doing some shady stuff back then. I'm not going to get into all that, but
right.
So that's how that goes.
You gotta protect the guilty, or to protect.
Yeah.
gotta names are changed to protect the innocent. Let me protect the guilty. Anyway.
Yeah.
All right. Car designer Chris in the building with a $10 super chat says support, fam. Absolutely do appreciate your support. Thank you to everybody who's supporting. Yeah, KD allegedly, but all right. So yeah, getting back into it. So you did all the things that your dad was talking about, and then sometime around the same time when you was out there with J-Rock and Nuck, you went back to school, correct?
Yeah. So what ends up happening is I'm at my dad's 2005. So I'm actually working at Chase Bank. I'll just say it. I'm working at Chase Bank. Hurricane Katrina happens, right? Chase Bank is the sole issuer of those FEMA cards all those people were getting. So we had unlimited overtime at the bank for 10 weeks. So because I'm not hanging out and doing all this other stuff, and my dad doesn't live far from the job site, I'm getting into work at like 7 a.m. and working till 8 p.m. every day, 7 days a week, running up. So I'm killing it, right? And I'm just making a ton of money, okay? Because I'm not out partying, that money gets saved. So I get back in school in the fall of 2005. My dad says, okay, we're going to pay for one course. If you get a good grade, I'll pay for some more courses the following semester. So, that was the other part of the stipulation. He said on the days I had to be in school, I had to be in class. Like I couldn't miss class. So I'm taking my class. So I'm going to class and everything. And so everything kind of goes through the fall 2005 without incident, right? Uh, I just work, go to school, and then we get to like December. And so then I get a place. So then my dad said, okay, so where do you want to go? I said, well, I was just like, you know what? I said, before I was thinking about going to Phoenix. I was thinking about going down to, I was thinking about going to Phoenix. I was thinking about going to DC. And then I was thinking about going to it was Phoenix and DC were the two places I was thinking about going, really. And so so then finally he said, okay. He said, so wherever you go, this is a one-way ticket. I'm going to send you out there. We're going to set you up and you got to make it work. And so I said, you know what? I don't even have to go that far. I said, just send me 20 miles down the road to Detroit. Because I was like, the people I'm hanging around, they're not, they care so little about what I'm doing, about me. If I just go down there, they won't even remember. It's going 20 miles away is the same as going 500 miles away almost.
Yeah.
So that's what I did. So I enrolled at Wayne State. I had temporary enrollment at Wayne State. I got good enough grades where they fully admitted me for the winter of 06. So then I was working full-time going to school. I had an apartment, had my car and everything. So then I was just kind of doing that, still hanging out, but I'm in school and everything. And so but the thing is, it's not a linear progression. It was like, it's almost like the stock market. I was doing this, going up. So, so then I meet my wife meet my girlfriend, now wife, in November 06, right? And she's already graduated college and she's working at a lab at the school. And she's 6 months younger than me though. So I tell her up front what kind of had happened, what I had been through. This is where I told her, like, on our first date what had happened and what I had been through. But she's looking at it like, well, geez, you have an apartment, you have a car, you're in school. Like, so in her head, everything's looking pretty good here, right? But I told her about what had happened. I was very transparent. And that wasn't the first girl I met and hung out with where I kind of had told them what was going on and, whatever reason. So anyway, so we
That
start
transparency, you telling women all your business up front on the first date, but all right, go ahead. It worked out for you. It worked out for you.
So I keep on going, and I graduate 2008. Of course, everyone knows about how the recession happened and all that crazy stuff. So it's hard to get a job. So what I end up doing is I get a job making like $9.50 an hour at like this call center, which is less than what I was making when I was in college. And I joined the military.
Wait, how much per hour you said?
$9.50 an hour.
And what year was this?
This is 09. This is like June, July 09. I want to say like my second week of work was when Michael Jackson died.
Yeah. $9.50 an hour. That might have been borderline minimum wage back then.
Yeah.
If I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. So I joined the military. I do that. And then I'm like refereed sports. Like I refereed football, basketball, soccer. I did that like in college too, but I'm doing that. That's like give me a couple $100 a week. I'm doing the military thing. So then I get a job on a help desk in like 2011. And so then my big break comes when and this is what shows you, like, you just put in the time, you put in the work. My big break came when I got a job as an IT consultant in 2013. So
okay, well, hold on, let's back up because I take it. Okay, what did you get your degree in?
Oh, I got my degree in political science, and I did a concentration in economics.
Okay, so I guess you learned all the IT in the military, I suppose, or
no? So what ends up happening is I'm working at the call center. I get the job on the help desk just because of the only reason why I get the job at the help desk is because this payment processor that I went to work for, it was just a help desk. I was doing the interview, and they asked me, when did I apply for the job? I said, oh, I applied for the job when I was at tech school in the military. They're like, you applied while you were at tech school in the military? He said, yeah, I went to the library and I found the job. I said on Saturdays we would have library passes. So I went to the library. I would go to the library every Saturday and I would apply to jobs uh, like for like 3 to 5 hours every Saturday when I was in tech school in the Air Force. And so I did that because I knew that my Air Force money was going to run out. And when my Air Force money ran out, I wanted to make sure I had a job, like a better. I didn't want to go back to that $9.50 job because when I was on active duty with the military for basic training, tech school, and like on the job training, I was making significantly more money. So I got a taste of making more money. So I was like, I can't go back, right? So I was making that sort of money for like a year or so, from like mid 2010 to early 2011. No, yeah, for about a year, I was making like pretty nice money because I was getting BAH and I was getting other stuff. So I got a taste. And so what ended up happening was when I got the job on the help desk, the reason why I got the job on the help desk because the lady who was interviewing me recognized the company. And she's like, you've been there 2 years? I said, yeah. And so she felt because I had worked there 2 years that I was serious about working because this is one of those places they were hiring 30 or 60 people. And within 9 months, only 5 people would be left.
Damn.
It was like one of those sort of places. So she was like, if he's been there 2 years, he has something to him. So that's why I got the job. And I got the job, and so I was actually pretty happy. I was making like $15.50 an hour. And so then in that time frame, my dad is talking to me about, what are you going to do with the girl you're dating? If you don't want to marry her, you need to cut her loose because you don't want a kid with her. If you don't want to marry her, he's like telling me this stuff. So I'm like evaluating all that while from about 2010 to 2000, like not 2009, 10, 11, I'm evaluating all that. I go by I decide, yeah, I'm going to do this. I go get the engagement ring in like like May of 2011 or something like that. May of 2011, I go get the engagement ring, and so we get engaged in August, and so what ends up happening is we decide we get married in 2012. So you're like, this isn't linear right now. So let me jump back to the job in 2011. At the job in 2011, I was just doing help desk stuff. And so then I got this special project, which basically jump started my career, was I had to basically identify the certain spending of some clients that was happening. And they were just it was like a side project because we were rolling out this prepaid debit card at this company. And so they asked me to like look at some transactions or something like that. So I had no idea how to do it. I was very green. I had grew up with computers, but I had not did anything really with computers really at all since 2002 or 3, right? So my skills were very stale at that point. So what ends up happening is I'm kind of learning and I'm reading. So then I say, you know what? Let me call up my dad and ask him because my dad's a software engineer.
Right.
And I say, maybe he can walk me through what these people are actually asking. So we like spend like 3 days and we like figure out, he shows me this is what to do. I learned how to write some formulas, do different things. And so I come with this whole presentation for the company of who's spending what money, how they spend it, what's the breakdown of the transactions, this, all these things, out of like this database that they had given me.
Right.
And so what that triggers is they're shocked because I'm just on the help desk. They're like, this guy pulled this off, but they didn't know my dad had helped me. So what ends up happening is they order what's that called? A firm to come in, what's that called? The high level math. My sister-in-law is majoring in it now. What is it? I can't remember it's what's the name firm? basically a mathematics company or a stats
Yeah, I was about to
company.
say, just describe what the
Y-
firm
Yeah,
does, and then we'll figure it out.
yeah. It's on the tip of my tongue, and I know this. I know the degree because she has a degree in it. Basically, like an applied mathematics firm.
Somebody just said an actuary. Is that?
Actuary, that's what it is. Yeah, actuary. They
Yeah,
have an
that's what I said.
actuary
You
firm.
just needed to describe what it was, and then
Yeah,
somebody will get it. Hold on, real
yeah,
quick. Shout out to car designer Chris in the building with the $5 super chat. I do greatly appreciate that. Appreciate everybody who's supporting the stream. So all right, so where were you at? You were you basically, your dad helped you with some presentation that just blew everybody's mind. You were
yeah,
just a help desk guy, and
yeah,
now it sounds like you're about to move on up. And I like this because we're getting into the good part, because I'm looking at the the show notes here. We're all the way in like 2011, 2012, and I know your first investment property came in 2013, and that's what kind of got you on the. I guess
yeah.
I'm assuming that's what got you on the path. So we're right up to the good part. So what happened there? You were working at the help desk, and then it sounds like you're about to get a promotion or something. So go ahead. What went on from there?
Yeah, so I show them that, and so now my brain gets curious about how I can make more money because I'm only making 15.50 hour, but I'm happy because I'm thinking I got the that money, I got the military money, I'm doing refereeing. I'm like thinking I'm sitting kind of pretty.
Yeah.
So because I'm still kind of beating myself up for I'm blaming myself for my past of the stuff I did when I was 18 to 21, or even 16 to 21. I didn't have good grades in high school. I went to a community college to start. I had dropped out. I got in trouble. Like I was kind of like feeling this is like my punishment for not performing. This is what my
Mm-hmm.
life should be. That's how I really felt at that point. And so what ends up happening is we do the presentation. They're shocked. They bring in this actuary firm. They spend like 8 weeks going through. They get like the official numbers. When it came back, all my stuff was within 10% of what they had came up with, right? Like in terms of the data, the numbers. So it was like, so then they asked me to do something else, to do some more data lookups. So I'm doing that. And so now I have like the taste of I could do something else, but I don't know what it is. So then I see the software engineers. I see that they can get up and go to the bathroom when they want. They can like play ping pong. They're doing all this stuff. I'm stuck to the phone. I can't get up
Mm-hmm.
ever, right? I'm doing all this extra work, like the data work after work, and I'm like getting overtime. Like I might work 6-7 hours after work, but I
Mm-hmm.
will get paid for 2 or 3. So I'm learning this stuff. So I asked them what they're doing. So then I learned about there's this thing called SQL. So then I start trying to teach myself how to write SQL and doing some different things like that. And so now we're into like November of 2012. I get married. And so that's when you're going to see the picture of President Obama, me and my wife. We also met his. Yeah.
I was
So
about to ask you about that one.
yeah.
I was about to
So
ask you about that one.
yeah. So what ends up happening is we get married. We just go to the courthouse and get married, right? And so we didn't have any money, so we just kind of fly to DC because it's all free. But it ends up it's like 4 or 5 days after the election, and so
Mm-hmm.
we're just walking around Arlington Cemetery, and we see we meet the president, President Obama, First Lady Michelle Obama, the current president, and the current First Lady. We meet all of them at once, and they're just like, oh, we're talking, and so they're like, my wife said, oh, can we take a picture? He said, okay, so we took the picture. He asked why we were in DC. We told we just got married and we were from Detroit. Mrs. Obama, she like heard our story and she thought we were kind of weird. She like kind of like walked away. She was like, these people are some weirdos. And she kind of walked away. Yeah.
Why do you think y'all was weird?
Because she's like, oh, why are you guys here? And we're like, oh yeah, we got married and we decided to come to DC. And then
Okay,
President Obama was like, really? He said, where are y'all from? He said, Detroit. He said, huh. All right, so you got married, came to DC. And then I was like, well, it's free. I said, well, it's not free, but you know what I mean, because we pay taxes for all that stuff around there. So she thought I was a weirdo. So she walked away. We met the current president, and so that was our wedding weekend. We got married on Friday, and we met them Sunday morning. And so we just got married. So then he gave us some marriage advice about what I should do, make sure things that I do as I'm being married. So we always tell people we got married by the president. but that's not true exactly. But the true story is the president, first lady, and the current president, first lady found out we got married before our own parents.
Ha! That's funny.
Yeah. So what ends up happening is we
Hold on, real quick. What marital advice did Barry O give you?
Oh man, what did he say? He said, I'm gonna tell you right now, you make sure whatever you do, you gotta do. What he I used to remember it because it was like, but it's a 12 years. It's like coming up on 12 years ago. 10 years.
In my mind, I'm thinking he told you some bad advice, like, oh, make sure you do whatever she says now.
No, he didn't say that.
Something goofy like that.
No. If I sit down and remember it, I'll. But it was actually some good advice because I was like,
Okay.
oh, okay. No, it was actually some good advice. What he said. So that's how we. So that's November. So what ends up happening is I come back. Work is starting to get a little weird, right? Because of I'm not really interested in my job anymore because I can see I can do something else, and then there's like some interpersonal things going on in my department. So I get into it with this with a very large client on this call. I get into it with this very large client, and within 30 days, I'm whacked, right?
They fired you?
Yep. Yep. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
It happens.
Yep. So this
tired, so yeah, go ahead.
So this happened. So this is like January 2013, and so then what happens is all these things start kicking in my head because I realize here I am. I'm married. I just got fired, and there's all these things, and I realized that I had to do something different with my life because of if I continue to work in call centers, I'm always going to be on the firing line. I'm always going to be caught in like this weird this income range that I won't be able to do anything in my life. And then I was feeling sensitive to the fact of right around then is like my 10-year reunion. This was the big driver. It was my 10-year reunion. I was seeing like some people I grew up with were like getting out of medical school or law school. Some people were making partner at some stuff because we were like 28, 29 at that point. So I'm seeing like this stuff, and I have this feeling like I have wasted opportunity because I kind of have some idea of a lot of black men don't get the opportunities that I had been given, and I had wasted it. That's how I'm really feeling. This is how I really feel. So
understandably so, but yeah. So if you got fired in 2012, you said 2012 or 2013?
January 2013.
January 2013. But your first investment property came in 2013.
Yep.
So how explain like what kind of cash flow did you have coming in? Like how did you get the first investment property that got the ball rolling on what eventually led to you having a $3 million net worth? Like how did you
all right, so this is where it gets crazy. Okay. So I obviously had money saved, but I get a new job making $40,000 within about 5 weeks. So I went from $15.50 an hour up to $40,000, plus I still have my military pay, blah 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 blah.
That's just 30,000 to 40,000, really.
But then what ends up happening?
Military. Okay, go ahead.
I had my military pay and I had money saved. Okay. So what ends up happening is we're looking to buy a new house, and so we're looking to buy a new house because we just got married, and we already had a home. Well, technically, she had a home.
Wait, real quick. This is important. How much did you have saved up? Because
I had like 20 grand in my savings. I had about 35 to 40 in my 401k, or in my 401k. And then my wife had probably about 10 to we had between us, we probably had about $60,000 to $70,000.
Yeah, that's actually very exceptional. Like you're still talking about late 20s at this time. Late 20s, just got married, but got the good thing, you didn't spend a whole bunch of money on a wedding. But anyway, So y'all had some cash that you can grab onto. That's a lot of people don't have that in their late 20s. So that was definitely a benefit. But
Yeah,
all right,
because the house that she had bought in 2009 was $50,000. So our mortgage was $400 a month, right?
$400 a month. Oh yeah. Wait, how much did it cost?
50,000 in 2009.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
And that sounds about right. That sounds
yeah,
about right.
yeah,
A lot of people don't understand that it's a lot of very livable houses in some areas. Some areas, $50,000 house is a crack house, but there's a lot of areas where you could pay $50,000 for a house and it's an actual fully functional, livable house. I know it's definitely like that in my hometown. Even though the property value is kind of going up here in my city, but overall, yeah, that's a very, very doable thing. So y'all already, through her, she had a house that was $50,000, and then y'all had about, roughly, I think you said like $60,000 cash combined, and then you just had a job making about $40,000 a year. And I'm
yeah.
assuming she probably was making around the same amount of money.
And she was making like 32, 35. So I was making the 40 for my job. I was making about 7,500 in military pay, and then I was still refereed. So
Okay,
yeah,
cool.
yeah. So that's
All
how I was
right.
making. So I end up like go buy. So what happens is we're going to go buy like a home in like Bloomfield or Rochester, like somewhere northern Oakland County, because that's where we're thinking we're going to live at. And because property values are still relatively high, we're thinking we're going to get like a $200,000 house, right?
Yeah.
We're going to get like a $200,000 house somewhere in there. So it ends up happening is there was this house in Detroit, and we used to always walk through this neighborhood when I was in college because we didn't have any money really, so we always just walk everywhere like and just like talk. So we had saw this house, and so my wife was still working at the university, and she said, "Hey, you know that one house right by da 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 da? It's for sale." And so it was like, listen, it was like $210,000. It said it's too high. This. Plus, I was kind of like, I don't want to live in Detroit. I was kind of skeptical. So then it came to it. This was like in December, so the price got cut in January. Then it got cut again in February. So once it came down like $170,000. So I put in a thing for the mortgage to buy it. Okay. And I told them I just started a new job. I had the offer letter. They said that's cool. I could buy the house even though I had an offer letter because I had been out of work less than 30 days anyway. And I had income in the interim. So it was all cool.
Okay,
So
cool.
when this is all going down, well, what happens is this house ends up being, it's a 6,000 square foot home with 8 beds and 6 baths. Okay.
Damn.
All right. And so what we do, but we were such expecting this house to be like a wreck. She went and saw it. She was like, Christian, it has floors, it has a furnace, it has like, it's like, it just had basic
Is that
stuff.
house still in the pictures that you sent me?
Yeah.
Is that
Yep.
okay?
Yep.
So hold on, let me try to see if I can.
Yeah, you can pull them up.
Yeah, I'm trying to find them. I mean, just go ahead and keep talking because I'm having a
Yes.
hard time pulling it up anyway because it's a.
Yeah, so what ends up happening is we get the house. So right when we're getting ready to close on the house, Detroit files bankruptcy. Okay, Detroit filed bankruptcy, and all the money gets pulled. They said we cannot. The banks are like, we cannot lend on a house that the city's in bankruptcy because they're worried that the city services are not going to be available. Like there's not going to be police or fire or something like that. And so so there's all these issues. They can't lend on the house. So this is in like, it's not that one. It's not that one. Not that one. Not that one. Not that one. That one.
That one, I was about to say that one looked like it.
Okay. So what ends up happening is we now are trying to get the house. We were under contract for like 155 or something like that. So we're going back and forth. There's all these issues. We can't get financing. There's like a lot of confusion. And so finally what happens is she goes to her parents. Mind you, my dad knows we got married. My mom knows we got married. Her parents don't know yet. So
man, that's a lot of time, and y'all still haven't told them. Why are y'all keeping it a secret?
it just wasn't. There's just a lot of internal family dynamics were going on. It was just well, first of all, I should have, before I got engaged, I should have went and talked to her father. I didn't do that, right? So then now there's just all sorts of problems, and we're saying we're going to tell them, but we're not having an opportunity. They didn't want us to get married in the first place because they didn't. They had some issues with me. The thing that changed that, I'll tell you how their opinion changed on that. But what ends up happening is we're under contract. So then we get to like June, July of 2013. And so we only have like $60,000 and the purchase price is $130,000. So I go to my dad, I tell him what's going on, what the problem is. And he's like, well, and I lay out how I'm going to pay for the house. I said, what I'm going to do is there's 2 income suites I can make in the house. There's a basement unit and a second floor unit. And me and her can live on the first and second floor. I said, we're going to renovate the third unit, the third floor. And we're going to renovate the basement. And then we're going to rent it out. And we're going to live in the first and second floor. And so he actually told me years later that when I came to him with that plan, he said, he's an adult. He's going to be okay. He's figured this out. He told me that was like the turning point where he knew it all came together for me. So he says, okay, sure, I'll give you $15,000, right? So then I said, okay, so now I'm at 75. So then we have some credit cards. I cash advance some money off some credit cards, right? To get some money. Don't try this at home, people. Do not do.
Yeah, I was just about to say.
do not try this at home. We went heavy hard in, okay? And then she goes to her parents, tells about this house. They're like, oh, why this, this, and this. She convinces them to give her like the last $35,000, okay, to get the house.
So what was the total price tag that y'all paid? Because it sounded like y'all didn't end up having the financing. Y'all
No.
Basically had to fork over the cash. So what was the final total price that you all paid for it?
$130,000.
$130,000. Yeah, I had to scrape up. Damn it, that's a lot to just be squeezing and pinching and trying to scrape up. Okay, so you said y'all had roughly between. I take it you had to pull out your 401k. You said that, right?
Yep.
So you had to pull out your 401k. You had 20,000 saved up. She had, I think you said about 10-15,000 saved up. Your dad gave you 15,000. I think she got another what from her parents?
30, 35, something like that.
Damn, parents came through. And then you did some stuff with some credit card, got cash advance on credit cards.
Yep. And then we went to like Lindy Club or like those Lindy Club or like City these people who provide those subprime loans. We went to those people, got some money out of them because I needed that to renovate the house.
Mm-hmm.
So we got enough money to close. Once we closed on the house, I went and got some more money from like Lindy Club or something like that. And interest rate was through the roof. But we now had a place to stay. So then we rented out the old house, right? For like $950 a month because the mortgage was $400. Then once the homestead tax adjusted, the mortgage was like $600.
Okay.
Right. So we were paying $950. We were getting $950 in rent on that. Then we had the $650. The $650 mortgage payment. And then I took like my last $20,000. I mean, literally when I say my last $20,000, that was all I had. That was it. There was no more money. Okay. So we renovated the basement unit. A guy from our church who was a contractor, he did the renovation and he said, okay, yeah, I'll work with you. So what he did was he took the money and then the money that was left over, he was like, oh yeah, just give it to me in payments. So as long as I would send him like $300-400 every 2 weeks, he was cool with it. Okay. So we did that. So I got the basement up and running. When I got the basement up and running, that was giving me like another $800 a month, $900 a month. In that time frame, when I had that $40,000 a year job, I ended up getting a new job offer in July of 2013. Okay. And what happens, that's my job, IT consulting, and that jumped me up to 50,000 plus commission, 50,000 plus bonuses plus per diem. Like my total compensation jumped to like $85,000 a year, like in terms of money coming to me every year. Yeah. So if so, from January of 2013, I went from making $15.50 an hour to like $85,000.
Well, and that's just your job, because I take it, okay, you would have been in the positive once you got tenants in this place, because I figured out a way to pay cash for it. Yeah, you had to pay back some, some loan sharks or whatever. You had to pay back some loan sharks, but for the most part, most of it was paid with cash. I'm assuming the parents didn't make you didn't require that you pay them back in a reasonable amount of time or at all.
No. That's another part to the story. Oh, that comes down the pipe.
Okay, cool. Let's not worry about that. I just want to get a clear picture of where we're at right now. So you got this property, because it's in the thumbnail. How did he get rich? So you got this property. Now, right now, the rent you're collecting from this property is how much?
I'm getting like $850 out the. I'm getting $900 out the basement. 900 per month.
Are you're renting it out to two different families, right? Or
no, but I don't have I don't have the third floor up and going yet. The third floor doesn't get going until my in-laws find out we had gotten married, and then I'll tell you what happens next.
Okay. So at this time, you just get 900 out of this one, and then so you had 900
out of the other one,
and basically 9. So that was just 1,800 a month, and then you were making another 80,000 from your job.
Yep.
And I take it she was making, you said, around 30,000, 40,000.
About 35. Yeah, 35.
All right, so y'all at around 120,000 a year, and I had to pull out a calculator that 1,800 times 12. So I'm just looking at the cash flow y'all had coming in, because I mean you had $1 million net worth in 2015, but in 2013 you're basically on your heels still. You made a big move. You pulled off a boss move, no doubt, but you said you depleted yourself to zero. You did get a good job, but you definitely still in the rat race around that time. So yeah, so going, like, what was your next move? Because you do got more cash flow coming in at this point. You definitely got more cash flow coming in. So what was your next move in the process? What was your next move?
So then what ends up happening is, so we're in July, August. So finally, her parents come down in November or October of 2013 to see the house, because she just says, "Well, we bought this new house." So they show up, and then they see the house, and they go berserk, because they're like, "You guys only have one thing you rented out." They're like, "You can have every bedroom rented out for $200 a piece." They say, "We don't know what we're doing. We're a bunch of idiots." They're going in, right? So then it all comes out.
They was cussing you out and calling you all kind of bad names in their home language.
Yep. Yep.
They I'm sorry, I don't care.
No, it's all true. These are all facts.
I don't know if she's a Chinese or Korean. I don't know what she is.
They're Chinese. Yeah. So yeah, they were not happy. So they were not happy.
They was acting like they was talking in their native tongue, like the people do when you go in the little nail shop, and they start talking about you behind your back, and they in a different language. That's what they was doing to you. But anyway, all right, go ahead.
So what ends up happening there is it gets revealed that we're married, okay? And so they go berserk, right? And so they realize that, well, they can't do anything. So firstly, they're thinking like, well, can we, does this have to happen like this? But then they realize my name's on title of the house, and there's all sorts of other problems. And so they realize they're kind of stuck with me at this point, right? They can't do anything. So what ends up happening is to like monitor the situation. And my wife's dad had a job loss at this point. He basically comes to stay, and plus I'm traveling. I'm in and out of town. I'm traveling like every week for work. I'm all over the country traveling for work at this point. So he basically stays with my wife And so what he does is he gets the other unit in the house. He did carpentry when he was growing up, when he was going through college. He's a civil engineer. So he had paid his way through college doing carpentry work. So he put the third floor together.
Mm-hmm.
And so then we start pulling out like $1,200 a month out of that one.
Oh, okay.
Right? That's by January, February 2014. So so then what ends up happening is my mother-in-law, she gets a credit line from her bank from their home in Toronto for some money. And so we just been saving our money. We're just restacking, we're replenishing. And so then we come up with this scheme of, if we can come up with 60 to 70% of the money, they'll finance the other 20 to 30%. So we start buying up houses. And we're using the money coming in, and we're just buying them one after another. For
By
about
money coming in, you're talking about just basically cash flow coming in from your job.
Yep.
Or
Yep.
cash flow coming in from your job and the properties.
Yep.
But even then, it still sounds like that's okay. How much was the next house that you bought?
Next house I bought was like 45 or 50 something.
Okay. Yeah, that's not a crazy amount. Which one? Let's see. Which one was it? I'll just go back to the top.
No. Actually, I take that back. The next house I bought, so they wanted to prove that I wasn't a bum, so I had to go buy a house on my own. They wanted me to prove I wasn't a bum. So what ends up happening is I get my tax return, and what I did was we transferred the title over to just my wife, so I got off the title. And so I
transferred the title to what? To what house?
To the house we bought, the house that we bought for 130.
Why would you transfer your name off of the title?
Because there ended up being this foundation who was giving money to veterans, to people who are in the military. They gave you a 2-to-1 match on a down payment, free. So what I did was I had got a hold of some money, and so then what I ended up doing was I took.
What did that mean? Wait, easy. What did that mean? You got a hold of some money, like?
Well, I mean, we've been saving the money, so I had.
Okay, cool. Okay, all right.
I saved up. I had saved up by another. In that time frame, the time we closed to that point, I had about $7,000 to $8,000 in my bank account. Right?
Okay, cool. Yeah, the only reason I'm being careful like that, when people be telling their success story, people always skip parts. Like, when they say things like, I got a hold of some money, and then it's like some people they don't tell the nuts and bolts. But so anyway, long story short, you increase your cash flow. You had investment rental money coming in from the rental properties. Plus, you were making more money at the job, and that allowed you to save, somewhere between $8,000 to $10,000 or so. And so that was the money that you got a hold of.
Yep. And then I got and then I got my tax refund check, which was like maybe $2,000 or something like that.
Okay, cool. And then what did you do with that?
So then there was this foundation giving out money to people who are in the military to buy homes. Mm-hmm. And so then they had like a 2-to-1 match. So for every dollar I put up in down payment, they put up $2. So I used that to go buy the next house with a mortgage. So that was the one for 190.
Wait, hold on. Say that again. I got distracted. I was reading the chat. I'm sorry. So, say that again. What was that last part you just said?
So what I ended up doing was, so what ends up happening is I go get the plows for 190. Okay. And I use what's that called? The down payment. I get the down payment I put up some money, and the foundation matches me 2-to-1.
This foundation, did you have to not currently have a home in order to?
Yep.
Okay, that was the important part that I assumed, but I don't think you said it. So they would help you with the home and give you all the benefits if you didn't currently own a home. So that's why y'all strategically took your name off of that home so you can go and pull off the move to get the other home.
Correct.
Okay, because it wasn't somebody in the chat room said that they were trying to, they was preparing her for a divorce, trying to get your name off of that house.
I trust me, I felt that at that time too. don't that's not that far off. I was like, oh, they're setting this up that if this doesn't happen, that they can hit the eject button if they have to.
Yeah. But okay, cool. But everything worked out and you were able to get that other house. How much did this other house cost?
It was 190, and I was able to get a mortgage on it.
Okay, so you went and got a mortgage on that one.
And I only
So
had to do 3.5% down because I got first time home buyer. Okay. Plus I got the foundation to kick in the money. And so as soon as I closed on that, right when I was closing, I found this lady who was getting divorced, and she had children and they wanted to stay in that school district. And so I started renting that out to her immediately. So no one knew who the real owner was, even though I owned the house. All they knew was the house had sold, and then this family moved in.
okay, perfect. So again, okay, so we got a $190,000 mortgage. You only had to put 3% down. So what was
But
the
not but I didn't even put down the whole 3%. I only came up with like 7. I came up with 7. The foundation came up, did a 2.5, gave me a 2-to-1 match, is what I'm saying.
gotcha. Okay, so it sounds like you even with her rent, you probably were breaking even on that one at the time, or no?
With the rent? What do you
Well,
mean?
okay, because you still would have to pay a mortgage on it,
Oh yeah,
and then
yeah,
her
yes, yeah,
rent. So
yep,
did her rent covered the mortgage probably with just a little bit over?
yep. That's correct.
Okay, so yeah, that mean I'm just saying that it's good you got the property, but that wasn't exactly adding to the cash flow in a major way. Is
Yes,
all I'm getting at.
but it ended up adding to my net worth, which I was able to use anyway. We'll show how that played in. So
Okay.
so once I pulled that off, okay, they were like they had a the person reason why my wife was here in Detroit was because of her aunt had helped her get the job at the university she was working at. So actually, so in the interim, in about 2012, I wanted my wife to be able to make more money. So I put up no before in 2011, I wanted once I was making more money at the on the help desk, I helped her go back to school to get a job to become a nurse. So that way she can make more money. And so she got done with nursing school in 2014. Okay.
Hmm.
No, I'm sorry, at the end of 2013. So got her license in May of 2014 or something like that. So what ends up happening is once I get the house, once I get the house that we just talked about, my in-laws had this meet had was met with the aunt that had brought my wife here. Uh, and she says like they're like they basically are like I don't know about this. This is this. So the aunt started asking questions about me, and so the aunt works with this. She worked at this major hospital in a lab, and her boss was a black male, and he had been in the military, and he had like a doctorate and everything, and so the aunt was kind of more comfortable around black people. And she said, well, what's this deal, where's he from, this. They said, oh, he said he grew up here and his dad does this and he's in the Air Force and this. And so the aunt told them, he said, you know what, he said, this is the one you want to keep. The aunt told her, the aunt sold my in-laws on keeping me around because they still weren't having it.
Do you seriously think that you being kept around you being kept around like that at that point, even when y'all already married, already got properties and the whole of works, like that was a joint decision. Like they could have put the kibosh on that, and told her, "Hey, you got to leave him," like just like that, and she would have left.
Well, they parents can have a very big influence on them. They could on people. They could put a lot of pressure on a situation, right?
And
We know how our
yeah,
parents they can make things unlivable. What happens? They just cut her off. They refuse to speak to her, and now she's on an island with me by herself, and she has no contact with anyone around her. Because remember, she's not even from the United States, right?
yeah.
So where like her network of people, all this sort of stuff. She could be completely cut off and isolated. So her parent, what happens? They decide to call her up, which may have happened, and they decide to curse her out for hours on end because they're
Yeah.
unhappy who her husband is. And yes, say first chance we have an issue, this makes it very easy for her to separate herself, right? I mean,
Hmm.
just be honest, just what happens.
Yeah,
I
no,
mean,
I get it. Now, and I was asking that question more so from a cultural standpoint. Like I was assuming that they probably operated like that, where the parents could jump in with that kind of authority, or the cutoff. the cutoff will be so strong that she may end up having to do what they say. But I'm also looking at it from the standpoint of, at this point, y'all combined own 3 properties. You got a job, you're making like $80,000 a year. She making like $40,000 a year. Like, y'all making enough to say to hell with the parents. That's what I was, really getting at here. It's almost to the point to where you could pull a rank and say, yeah, we on this island together. If you understand what I'm saying. You were pretty much in a position to pull a rank. That was your wife, and y'all was making over, 120, 140,000. Well, based off my little scribbling on my notes, about $140,000 in total, cash flow coming in, taxes and all that got to come out and blah, blah, blah. But overall, y'all was making enough money to get them the finger. That's,
well,
probably didn't want to do that.
Believe it or not, there was conversation. There was conversations about that too. Like, hey, we could anyway. So the aunt kind of saves me. The aunt lets them see the light that they were like, she found out he worked his way through school. His dad does XYZ. He's doing this. He's in the Air Force. And she was like, this is the one you want to keep. She told him that.
Okay.
And so then what
it sounds like you're dancing around the word racist, but that was part of the problem, because I think anybody could just look at your measurables on paper: a college graduate, military man, IT job, making 80,000, and well, I mean, they probably was giving her. Well, then they did have to put up a lot of the money for that house that y'all got. So they probably was looking at, well, they wouldn't have that house if it wasn't for us, and she had already previously owned a house. So okay, they was trying to. In their mind, you were potential dead weight, but you were making the most money in the situation. So I don't know, but yeah. But anyway, yeah, the aunt saved the day and said no, he has the right measurables on paper. You did what you had to do to get that to get that one house on your own. Your dad had the right background. You had the right background. Everybody had the right background. So anyway, they okay, yeah, it worked out. So the aunt saved the day. Cool.
Yeah, aunt saves the day. So then what ends up happening is they come up with this thing of, okay, you think they're now in and around Detroit, and they're hearing different things, and they are seeing how they're from the Toronto area.
Wait, hold on real quick before you go any further. Jada LaRue, aka Feminine Melanin, thank you very much for that very sizable cash app. I don't even want to say how much out loud, but thank you very much for that very sizable cash app. I do greatly appreciate it, and appreciate everybody who's supporting the stream so far. All of you are awesome. But carry on. Go ahead.
So what ends up happening is at this point the Canadian dollar is outperforming the US dollar, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's a stronger dollar. And so what they say is, okay, how are we going? They had the situation of there's this depressed real estate area, and they have the Canadian dollars trading higher than the US dollar. And so they come up with this thing of, I tell you what, if you guys come up with a way to get 60-70% of the money on properties, we'll come up with the rest of it, because they had a home that had appreciated in value very highly in Canada, right? And so what ends up happening is they get a credit line, and so we start buying properties, and they are basically funding like 20 to 30% of the purchases, okay? And in the flip side, what they said was, I need to send them, they said, for punishment and for debt payment, right? Because of XYZ, you're going to send me X amount of money every month. Okay. They came up with a number that they felt would be appropriate penance to make them feel better about the situation. That's what it came down to. That's what it just came down to. Right. So we start buying up the property. So we buy like 2 more properties, and now rents are starting to rise in other places, because that place we bought in Detroit, it started to pick up because certain other things happen, with certain things get built and everything, and some other things happen, and so now the rents are picking up in that place. mind you, this whole time, remember, we don't pay a mortgage, right? We're living for free at this point.
Yeah, that was the key part.
That's a big part. So just think about everyone's like, how's this money coming in? Just think about it. Most people spend about $20,000 to $30,000 a year on housing. That was all being saved and invested.
Yeah.
Okay, all that money. So that's where the money came from. So what ends up happening is we're buying these places, they're kicking in the portion, they just want their cut. And so what ends up happening is that's how we just basically go on like a small buying spree where we acquire more properties using
Well,
that money.
how much were these properties? Because even if I know you alluded to it, but even if you were, not having a house payment, so you were able to save up more money,
Yeah.
it's still okay. Well, let's just start from there. How much were these properties? You keep saying, we were buying up these properties. How much were they, and were
they typically run between $40,000 and $60,000.
Okay, so basically, y'all were like over the course of a year, like y'all would save up 40,000, buy a property, and
Yep.
like it was pretty much just like that.
Yep.
All right, and I take it these properties, you still own these properties, correct?
Yep. And so the
All
money
right,
starts
hold on.
snowballing. So the money just starts snowballing at one point.
Yeah, that's a fairly common thing. So what was the ones that y'all were buying at this time? Let me see if I can find them on
So we bought that one.
this one right here for
No, the one below that. We bought that from this lady, got stage 4 cancer. She had 4 kids, and her boyfriend walked out on her, and she died like 60 days later. And it went into probate, and then the pipes burst in the house, so no one could finance the property. So we were able to step in and buy it. And it was the reason why I tell you that is because of the kids write letters to the tenants in the house to this day, like saying like how much they miss living there. It's really weird. I always like tenants say, I got this weird letter from like this girl, and it's always creepy because the mom died and they didn't have any parents around, and they went somewhere, and the kids write letters to the tenants saying how much they miss living there. It's really awkward.
Yeah, that sounds kind of creepy. But all right. That
And
house. Hold on,
it,
but real quick, that house I'm looking at it. Everybody else can't see it, but I can see what it says here. It says purchase for $74,000. So
yep.
at this point, y'all had $74,000.
No, we had about 50. We had about 50.
Oh, that was part of the deal. You saying that they would explain that part again for me. You said they would come up with
because remember the US dollar was trading at a lower rate than the Canadian dollar. So they were moving the money over here via buying the real estate, and we were having whatever we had and we were putting it with it, basically.
That's interesting. I haven't heard of anybody working that like that. That's a new concept.
Well, I mean, remember this was a short period of time where this could all happen, right? Because of the currency trades. That's what ended up happening.
Okay. And what other ones did you buy during that time?
We bought that one. So my father-in-law, he's like here overseeing because he wants to make sure everything's on the up and up. So again, he's rehabbing these homes. We're not paying for anyone to rehab it. He's rehabbing them.
Mm-hmm.
So all I'm doing is buying materials.
By rehabbing them, you mean like going in, fixing, repairing, and
Yep.
He's like physically doing it himself?
Yep.
Oh damn. What exactly did he do for a living?
He was a civil engineer, and he was previously a building inspector for a city. So he knew how to do the stuff.
Okay, so right now, so he's fully involved, participating in the process, and they no longer talking about you in Mandarin behind your back. He's like, son, when he see you at this point.
It's not it's a more cordial relationship at this point. Yes. It's not great, but it's more cordial. So that was like the initial buying in 2013, 2014. So now the money's in and everything. So now what we do is so now my income jumps again at another job, okay? Um, because I go to Kuwait for deployment. And so while I was in, so basically that whole time I was in Kuwait, basically ended up not having any taxes that year. So all the money I made, we had no taxes. So that saved us some money and did some other stuff. That's also when our first child was born. Uh, my wife didn't work for like 8 months, but we had planned it. So she got a short-term disability policy where she got like 60-70% of her income, even though she was off work. So we didn't really lose the money. So
Right.
because so we had that. So now we're into like 2016. When I get in, so we get in 2015 ish. We get in, and so now I'm making good money. My wife's a nurse. We're off and rolling now. Like we're really rolling at this point.
Yeah.
So now what happens is I go get one of my buddies that I used to work with at the payment processor. He wants to get in real estate because he's seeing what I'm doing. So he's buying stuff up. Same situation. His father.
Wait, hold on. It sounds like you skipped to 2016, right?
Yeah, because we didn't really buy anything in 2015. We didn't buy anything.
Well, okay, but hold on. I'm looking in the show notes, and it's saying that your net worth was $1 million at 2015.
Yep, that's because
so right now it sounds like you had the property that she had before y'all got together, the one multi-unit, and then when you said y'all started buying up properties once you got to the point to where y'all didn't have any you had more cash flow coming in and didn't have a whole lot to go out.
Yep.
Like this was really in a 2014 2015 time frame. So how many properties did you buy in that short amount of time? It sounds like less than a year. Well, a year and some change.
Yeah, so we bought let's see. So we had the one from 2009. So we bought the multifamily. We bought the other one. The other one. I think we bought 4 or 5. We bought 5 in that time frame.
So these 5 houses gave $1 million net worth.
Yeah, that's 200,000 per property if you think about it.
Oh, well, yeah. I mean, I guess I did. Well, some of them was in that 50,000 range. But
yeah, but remember,
again, the value of the property was going up,
yeah, values of the properties are going up at this point.
Yeah, the one that y'all initially got, that $130,000. That probably skyrocketed.
Yes.
Yeah. So okay, cool. So the property, the value of these properties was going up. You had about 5 of them. So at that point, and this is something that a lot of people don't understand, because your net worth, when somebody say they has $1 million net worth, there's some people who still ignorantly believe that they're talking about $1 million sitting in the bank. I just recently heard a guy on a channel. He was basically explaining how he had, I forgot how much money this dude said he made per week. I forgot what it was, but he basically described businesses that I calculated in my head had to have over a $10 million evaluation if you run the numbers on it. But he was saying he wasn't a millionaire, and I'm like, no, yes, you are. But so a lot of people don't really understand how that works. So in that moment when you did have that, when you did own all those properties, did you look at it or consider yourself, to be a millionaire in that moment?
I didn't even realize it. Someone brought it up to me. I would because I was running the rental property business from Kuwait when I was deployed, and somebody was like, "What are you doing?" Because I was like still doing stuff, calling contractors to do work, do different things. So they were like, "What are you guys doing?" And I told him, so we were going through like what I owed. He's like, "Dude, you're worth $1 million." And I was like, "What?" He said, "Yeah." And I didn't realize it. He was the first person who made me realize that. I didn't realize we were worth that much.
Yeah, but he technically wasn't in the right to try to say that you should not have been working. I mean, having that $1 million net worth, that doesn't equal to necessarily cash flow to where you should turn down a revenue stream. You see, so
yeah, yes, that's 100% true. But he just brought it. I mean, this was like a dude who anyway, he just like brought it up, and I didn't realize it. And so what ends up happening is when I get back from Kuwait, I realize I need to open up another revenue stream. So I'm hearing about this Uber stuff. And so what I do is I go get like two, then I get a third car, like kind of a third car, and I start renting that to people to drive like black SUVs. And so they're paying me like 550 a week for rent, and I just have to cover the uh the insurance. So they're doing that, and so I'm getting paid off of that. And then in 2016, I go get another rental property, another triplex, and I got that for like 49,000. But I only came up with 25,000 in that case because my boy, who I got into doing real estate investment, he was going to buy a property. His inspection failed, so he already had the 25,000 out of his bank account. And so I told him like, hey, why don't you go in with me on this property and you just hold the lead. So I come with 25, you come with 25, you pick the interest rate, and we'll call it good. He said, okay, cool, we'll do that. So I ended up having to, so he did that. So he put up the 25, I had my 25, I fixed up the property. And so then that property started paying me like $2,200 a month.
I see. I'm probably skipping ahead here. I'm looking at a house that says it says purchased 770K. What year did you purchase this bad boy?
So I'll get to that. So
yeah,
I'll get to that. That's later.
Yeah,
so
that's something right there. But all right.
Yeah, but I don't count that in my net worth. I'll tell you what that's about.
Okay, cool. We'll get to that. We'll get to that a little later.
So what ends up happening is we get another triplex, and we get that place together. And so now that's paying me like $2,200 a month, right? And I got that place for like 49.5 or 47,000, something like that. But I only had to come up with 25,000 to buy it because one guy I knew had the other 25. So basically I bought him off over the course of about 3-4 years. I paid him off. So, but I knew the assets price are really starting to grow up at this point. So then of course I'm starting to make more money at work still, right? So I'm making more and more money at work.
Yeah, about how much was your salary at your job, would you say?
By 2019, I'm over 100,000.
Okay.
So,
we all the way up into 2019 then. Okay, cool.
Yeah, because I bought that place that was 49,000 in 2016. Okay. And then I also started the car service. So the car service, I had 2-3 cars pay me $550 a week every week. And
that's interesting. That's interesting because I didn't. Okay. When you say you started this car service, this wasn't connected to Lyft or Uber, or was
actually it was. What I do would be I would like there's drivers. These guys don't have credit to go get a vehicle, and they might be driving around in a little doing Uber X. Well, they want to do Uber Black or Uber SUV. So what I would do is I would step in and I would get them like an Escalade, and so my note might be only $650, right?
Okay,
$650 a month, and then I have to pay for the insurance. Well, then I charge them $550 a week.
You charged them $550 a week, so they had to, in order for them to make so if they went and hustled their ass off Ubering and made $1,500, I mean that's a lot of Ubering. Yeah, make $1,500 in a week. They can pay you $550 or whatever, then they keep the $950. So I didn't know that was a thing, because I guess I've always been skeptical. And Pablo and a few other people had to educate me on this one, how much people can actually make doing Uber and Lyft and all of that stuff, because I was thinking that if you had to pay out somebody $550, what your profits are a little shaky. But that's a nice gig if you could get in that business, and the only thing you're doing is just providing car for a very active driver. Then yeah, I never even thought about it from that perspective. I always thought about it from the perspective that the only way you could turn a profit getting in that business is if you're physically driving the vehicle. But to get in that business without driving the vehicle, that was smart. That was smart. I like that.
Yeah, so they're paying me $550 a week. That was smooth, easy money. Plus, I have my real estate money coming in.
Mm-hmm.
Plus, I have my job. Plus, my wife's a nurse. So you see how this money started to stack?
Yeah.
The money started to stack, right? So essentially,
Yeah.
we have a real estate business that's bringing in 6 figures. I have the car business bringing in 6 figures. I have a job making 6 figures, and then my wife is making between $50,000 and $70,000.
Yeah. Wait, hold on. You said the car business is making 6 figures?
It's bringing in 6 figures, yes.
Well, how many cars did you eventually have? Because you just said 500 a
550 a
week.
week. 550 a week, right?
Oh,
So
each car.
each car,
How many cars did you put out eventually?
I had 2 pretty much the whole time. I had 3 only for about 4 months. So let's just say, so I had the 550, right? So I was doing that. So you say they pay that 8, just say that's 8 times a month, right? That's
Mhm.
4,400 a month times times 12, right? So that's 52,000.
Mhm.
But then, so that was the 52,000. But then what happened was the way that Uber counted, they count the money coming towards me, and then I'm paid out to them as subcontractors. So,
Oh.
right? And so there's tax benefits that I was
Yes.
able to
Get it.
capture.
Got
All
it
right.
now. It was a business that was generating 100,000. You still had to pay out, employees and pay for the cars and the whole works, but then that still was a business that was worth that much in terms of what it generated. I got you.
Yeah.
Got you.
So
Good stuff.
so
Go ahead.
so then what ends up happening is, so now the money started to stack up. So then what I do is I go get another property. I go get another property. That's the one I got for 275.
That's the one you got for, you said 275.
Yeah.
That is, let's see. Let's look at that one. Let me know when we see it.
I'm about to see it.
Wait, no, that's the bottom one. You had a lot of notes on that one.
Keep scroll up. I think it's the top one. The top one. That one. Yep.
Okay, so you purchased this one for 275. This was a cash purchase.
No, so what happens with
Okay.
this property had been on the market. The seller had been trying to sell it for like 4 years, 5 years, and he couldn't sell it because the house was a wreck. It was in really bad shape. It was in a Detroit suburb. It was in an affluent Detroit suburb, but the house was just a complete wreck. And so what I did was I basically developed a new market by putting certain amount of money into it, because everyone was convinced they could only get $900 or $1,000 on this 2-bedroom, because everyone's places hadn't been renovated since like the 90s. So I came in, I fixed up the place, and I started renting the places for $1,500. And so I made a whole new market. I made a bunch of people in the neighborhood mad. They were calling the city on me. They would walk up to property, like neighbors were walking up and like yelling at me, saying, first they said I was going to rent to poor people, like there was like basically semi-racist language. And I told one of them, I said, you think I put this amount of money in the property to rent to poor people? And so then they got upset with me. Yeah. Oh yeah, they did. They didn't like that. And so then they were in the grocery store. My wife was in the grocery store, and they were talking about, oh, the person who bought that house over there, I ran into him. He's uppity. My wife heard it, and she was like, whoa. Like I made a lot of people very unhappy. I bought that property because it was kind of like, who the heck are you? Because we just kind of showed up out of nowhere, and people didn't understand what the game was we were doing. So we raised the rents up of the area, and so then people followed suit, and they all went and fixed their places up because their tenants got mad because of they were like, geez, if they can get a fully renovated place for $1,500, and I paid $1,000 or $1,100 for a place from the 90s, because I found there was a gap in the marketplace because of I looked at the median household in the census tract for the median household income. The median household income was like $95,000. Well, I know the renters are going to be from like the lower 50%. So I said, there's a big space for the renter class to run for me to charge them, but everyone is renting their places for $1,000. So I basically came in at a higher price point if I knew that I could provide a product that those people would want to buy. So that's what I did there. So then everyone else fixed up their places. They were upset with me because they had just how people are when they're stuck in their ways. So immediately when they did that, I knew that I got this contact. Someone called me regarding they needed corporate housing, but they need to be furnished, this from a very large manufacturer here in Michigan. And so I started renting to them corporate rentals. So they started taking homes from me at corporate rates, fully furnished. And that increased the income even more on stuff I already had. All I had to do was put furniture in some places.
Damn, back up. That was something different. Explain that one again. I'm sorry. I want to make sure I properly process that. Just go ahead and explain that again.
Okay. So what ends up happening is after I bump up like the rental rates of this area, because I basically create a new market for my after I create this new market, these people come. I get contacted from this very large manufacturer. They need to house workers in the area, and they need it very quickly. Okay, and so they say, and so they say, hey, if you could give us housing, we'll pay you X amount of dollars, but they have to be furnished. So what I do is I go furnish the places, and so they start cutting me checks for this housing that's way more than even what I was getting on like the regular market, because it's executive rentals, fully furnished. If people are flying in, they're bringing people in from out of the country. They need places to stay for 6 to 8 weeks, and they're paying me.
Oh, wow. So your properties that you owned, you were able to basically, you're able to put people in them for premium rates, just from corporations are paying you basically at that point.
Yes, correct.
Wow. That's okay. I don't mean to ghetto-fy the show, but that's better than that Section 8 hookup when you're renting out to somebody. Never mind. That's some hood stuff. People be renting out to people on Section 8, and they can set it at whatever they're gonna set it because they know the government paying it. But you're doing the same thing with the corporations. Got the corporations paying it, so you just taxing the hell out of them.
Yeah,
that's how you stick it to the man.
Yeah.
In that case, no, you become the man at that point. They gotta, damn, that's good. That's definitely some good stuff. Like we've almost walked all the way through the process. Like we're at we're pretty much at 2019. Like at this point, you're sitting on everything you just described. You're sitting on at least a $2 million net worth at that point.
Yeah. So then COVID happens, right? And they start printing money, right? The money printer gets flying, and now asset prices start exploding. So this is right around about 2017, 2018 is when my in-laws really come around. We have our second child, but this is what actually happens. It's two things. They realize that, hey, this guy, so I've been cutting them checks every month, right? They realize, hey, the guy's actually not that bad. But this is the big thing, I think, that really turned the tide. They wanted to buy a condo in downtown Toronto, and then they wanted to buy an investment property, but they didn't have any income. So what happens is me and my wife go over to Toronto for a visit, and they are able to use the income because of the money that they have access to via us. I didn't have to sign for anything. I never signed for anything. They're able to use the income that we have, and they secure those properties in Canada for the new condo, for a new build condo and an investment property, which I don't count that in my net worth, because that I only count stuff in my net worth that I actually get paid on. That's some other stuff that I have nothing to do with. And then there's stuff that I did. My dad got some stuff that in some cases I counted in my net worth. In other places I don't. I only count it if the banks, when I have to go do certain things with the banks, if they say I'm liable for it, I'll put that in my net worth calculation, because my dad has stuff that in this time frame that we bought, that he got off of things that I was doing, because of, at this point, people are coming to me with deals, and he's pulling money out of his 401k. He's doing also, everyone's in on the game at this point.
Yeah, that's some good stuff. And it's I know that did have to make you feel good. The in-laws who doubted you all that time, they ended up needing you in that situation, basically. If I understood that right.
Yep.
Yeah,
And so
They basically needed you. The money that you were giving them, basically that basically represented their income that they were able to use to get what they needed going forward, basically.
Yep, that is correct.
Yeah. Yeah, that's
And so that's right around the time when the relationship with my in-laws really flipped. So like I was sick like 2 months ago, and my wife was talking to her dad and saying, "Oh, Christian's not feeling well," and my father-in-law was like, "You better make sure he doesn't get sick, because now I'm the goose that laid the golden egg at this point."
Yeah.
In their eyes, because before, a lot of this stuff is about people want to be able to brag about what their kids are doing or what their family's doing. Another thing that happened was right before the pandemic, we had this meeting. We were going to buy a farm. It was good we didn't do it because the pandemic happened and that would have jammed up our finances and it probably could have ruined us in some ways. So some people flew in from China and they wanted to get some stuff here in Michigan. And so I set up a thing for us to basically buy a farm, and we were going to start manufacturing marijuana, right? And I ended up not pulling the trigger.
God damn it! I knew you was a pookie. You trying to get in the dope game? All this just so you can go back to the streets. God damn it!
So what ends up happening is So this was first part where they started liking me. I really started liking me was so the guys were the couple of people were in from China and they were talking, and so they're cool at this point. They're like, hey, if we're just trying to get paid. And they don't really care about what my ethnicity is because they look at it as we're kind of agreeing, okay, they're going to use my name to get the license. They'll put up the money. You get the land. Like it was all being worked out what we were going to do. So then what comes back is we're having dinner. I have everyone out at dinner. And so we're talking. And so we're having conversation at the table. And so then the guy from China is like, yeah, so you have another daughter. They're like, yeah. They're like, well, you could command this amount of money from someone from China, and I can broker it for your daughter right now. Because they're like, because of her age, where she went to college, what her degree's in, what the family net worth is. Basically, it's like a buy-in to the partnership, right? It's almost like a buy-in, saying, and they were like, what? And so my father-in-law, he makes a statement like, will they get upset that my son-in-law is black? Like he says that at the table, right? Kind of cringy, but you get what he was going at, because it's still a ethnocentric. What's the name?
Yeah,
right. They're still ethnocentric, but he's a nice guy. In no way is he's so far from ever being a racist. Their pastor in Toronto was a black man from Jamaica, and that was another thing that softened him up to me over time. Was he, his interaction with him. So, and he sees that, his daughter's been well taken care of and other things like that. So he, it is what it is. What can a father say at this point? So that was a big turning point with the guy from China was like, hey, I can broker a deal for your other daughter for you get paid off of that. If you want to. They didn't do it, but they were like, what? So that's when they realized, oh shoot, we've really arrived, because they're start adding up everything that's going on. They're like, geez, this all happened in, they came to North America in 1999. My wife came over here to the United States in 2006. So you have to look at it in their head. They're like, geez, they went from, my father-in-law, he's never made more than $50,000 in his life. So
what?
Yeah,
I assumed he was doing better than that. He's looking down his nose at you. He's making a construction worker's salary. Like, what the hell? Okay, anyway, I'm sorry. I ain't gonna talk about the man. He seems like a great guy.
No, he's great. No, he's very nice.
You was doing better than him when he was looking at you like you was trash. You was making at least 50,000.
Yeah. Oh well. What can you do, right?
Yeah. Black skin. What the hell? Anyway. All right.
Whatever. Go ahead. So what ends up happening is so that was a big turning point in terms of internal family dynamics with her parents. It was about 2017 to 2019. That's when the big dynamics. That's when the big shift in dynamics when they realized our son-in-law that we didn't want has taken us to the promised land.
Yeah. He got them back. You got them back doing deals with damn, yeah. That's huge. That's huge. You put them back in the game. they that is impressive, man. That is impressive. They were basically just here just working bees, and you wow, that's impressive. I'm semi speechless. I'm just sitting there thinking about it. Well, I mean, I guess I in my mind I was thinking that they were doubting you to the point to because they came from like status and success like that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, in China
that's
back in China they were, they had very nice jobs, right? They were a part of the professional class, and they came here to North America, because they heard the roads were paved with milk and honey, right? And they found out that's not necessarily the truth, and they
yeah,
were
you
just
got to work for it.
yeah, and so they were so like I said in another thing, once they realized that this marriage had happened and there was nothing they could do, they realized that they had to go with it, right? Everyone had a vested interest in trying to make this thing work, even
Hmm.
though they may have had their own selfish reasons. But everyone gets along, and everyone's very friendly. Everyone gets along. Everything's cool. But ultimately, I had to put it together, and uh, it's been a very interesting ride. And as crazy it sounds, navigating how to do this different stuff with the real estate and with the cars and doing this and doing that, it increased my earnings at work because I actually understand what it takes to make money and how to move people and how to get things done. I would never learn that because I mean, I was just out with some of my buddies who are engineer or software engineers, and they were like, dude, we were talking. They're like, dude, because they were working with me at like other companies. They're like, how fast you moved up is crazy. They're like, they're even saying these are like some Russian guys, Albanian guys. These are like white dudes. They're like, dude, how fast you moved up is insane. How quickly you did all that, and they've known me the whole time, so they were shocked how quickly I pulled it all off.
Yeah. I mean, it shows a couple things that, when you're competent and you're handling business, all that race stuff can fall by the wayside when you're doing what you're supposed to do. But the biggest takeaway, and whenever we start talking about the net worth of the average white family versus the average black family and blah 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 blah, a lot of that does just it simply comes down to real estate. Black people are not buying enough houses, and they're not buying properties. That's more or less what it all comes down to. That's how you eventually got the ball rolling. That's how you got in a position where you can live in a house without having to pay a mortgage, which means when the cash flow came in, you were able to use that cash flow to buy more houses and then use that money that made from that to buy more and buy more. Then it's just a ongoing basically basically a never ending snowball. Basically a never ending snowball. One thing that I do want to show here, something that you showed me. You can talk about this real
Sure.
quick. Hold on, real quick. Let me pull up another screen share. That damn it, where's it at? I won't be able to show it from there. I'm looking at what you got here. Your net worth. It says assets. $3,375,759.69. The debt is $262,451.32, but still the total net worth is $3,111,1338.37. So basically a 3.1 million net worth. One might ask, why even have that debt there? Like, what's why? Like, it
So
seems it seems like you're in a situation to just wipe that clean. Even though I was, I'm not even going to talk about situation I was in when I was in a similar situation where I was looking at the amount of. I'm not even going to get into that. That was a conversation me and LJ from Saving Minus Debt had a while ago, where I could have just pushed a couple buttons and cleared off all my debt, and I didn't. And I wish I would have at the time. But anyway, that's a whole nother story.
so
But
so full
go ahead.
disclosure, a lot of my net worth is tied up in real estate. That's first thing. So
Yes.
so that full disclosure. So what happens is when you have assets like this, they can be leveraged in all sorts of ways. Okay. So if someone was like, yesterday, like last week, I was somewhere, I ran into a guy. He wants to sell me this 30-unit apartment building for $400,000. He just
Okay.
said, we started talking about something else because I was buying some furniture out of this estate sale. This, like, we were in like this $2 million house, and I was buying an oven for my new home, like a wall oven, because they said it was $3,500 at the store. And I went to this like $2 million house because it was, and they're selling everything, and so I got a wall oven for $350
Mm-hmm.
out that house. So anyway, me and him were talking, and he's like, "Yo, I have an apartment building you might want." I said, "Where?" He told me where. He said, "Well, it's 400,000. That's the opening thing." So I call up my banker, and he's going through things. So basically, what I'm saying is, I want my cash position isn't as strong as it should be, but that's something I want to work on the next about 3 to 5 years, get my cash position stronger. But that way, I could execute deals like that faster. But then my banker, he even came back and said, "Christian, this isn't a deal for you. This is too big." He said what he's going to do is put me into this thing that when other clients at the bank are unloading, like they're like 6 to 12 unit apartment buildings, he's going to run this by me because he can take the assets that they already have under their portfolio and have me acquire that, and he could do it. They could do it at a discount because of both people are in within the bank. We don't need to pay a mortgage, pay a realtor. There's all sorts of things they could fold it into whatever I already have. So why don't I pay that stuff off? Big reason. We actually did talk about cashing out last spring. We said, why don't we just cash out, get us like a house for like $300,000 and just call it good. We talked about this. We had a serious conversation about this last spring around this time. Just cash out and walk away. Uh,
But
we
cash out and walk away. You're talking about selling all the properties.
sell everything.
Hell no, I wouldn't.
Yeah.
But anyway, do I mean, hey,
Yeah. Cash out, sell everything, buy a house for cash, and then just live your life. And all we have to do is have jobs making 40, 50 grand a year, and we're good. We don't need anything else. Retirement's funded, kids' college funds funded, everything's funded. But I looked at it as like, man, we're already this far. We're not even 40 yet. I was like, can I get to 10? That's the thing I'm thinking about. I think I can get to 10 million by the time I'm 55.
honestly, the way I see it, you'll probably get much further than 10 million, because again, it seems as if once that ball get rolling, it's a snowball going downhill. So I personally, just looking at how fast you've done what you've done over the last few years, yeah, I would say you would get there a lot quicker, a lot sooner. The link is in the chat. Anybody want to come up and ask questions? Particularly, I do want to hear from I haven't heard from LJ from Saving Minus Debt in a minute. I know you've said some things in the chat room. You definitely come up and I'll participate in this conversation. But anybody want to come up that got some questions, some financial questions, or just just want to speak to the story, because this is an amazing story, definitely a story that needs to be told. We need to hear more brothers talking about these kind of things. We need to hear more brothers talking about these kind of things. It's not rocket science buying a property. It's not rocket science buying a property. So few of us do it. And when you look at the wealth gap that they call it, the wealth gap, yes, it's tied into properties. It's tied into properties. That's a huge part of it. So yeah, no, you definitely should sell. You want to be sitting on you want to, well, the way I look at it, and again, I understand the concept of somebody wanting to have, wanting to have that in cash, wanting to have it in cash. But when you're talking about wealth, like, that's something where, it's your kids, kids are going to be benefiting and living off of it. So man, it's a never ending story that, you definitely wouldn't want to cash out. I wouldn't do that if I was you at all.
You know what, Bernardo? I just realized when we were talking about my debts and assets, I think about 300,000 missing because of my new home I bought. That's not in there because it hasn't reported yet.
Oh, the new one hasn't reported yet.
Yeah, the assets are in there, but the debt hasn't reported yet. So I was looking, I'm like, I feel like it's short. It's 300,000 short on the assets. Or the debt. I just realized that.
Oh, okay.
So but all right. So I'm worth 2.8, 2.7, something like that.
Yeah, closer. We can round your own up to 3 million. It's all good. It's all good. But no, definitely.
But also too, there's stuff in there I'm not counting, such as my dad's stuff. I'm not counting that. The stuff that my in-laws have, which that stuff when I
Well,
go through underwriting,
how
huh?
much or to what degree is that connected to you when you say your dad's stuff? Like how much of that is technically yours or kind of yours or
Well,
what?
all my dad's stuff I have insurance policies on because of economies of scale, because I have so much insurance that I like, whether it's here or the stuff in Canada, that stuff all flows through me in terms of insurances and different things like that. So when I have to fill out like documents, I have to disclose certain things because I have interest in them. So that stuff, I don't even count that stuff in my net worth. In most cases, because I don't get paid off of it. I'm only counting the stuff I get paid on. But banks,
Right.
like when I went and got my mortgage, they care about the stuff that my dad has because they look at that's a liability on them. For that's a liability, or that's something that could be of concern to them financially if something happened. Or same thing with the
Right.
stuff in Canada. But I don't count that stuff because I don't get paid on it. So, whatever.
Right. We are joined by the one and only LJ from the Savings Minus Debt channel. A lot of y'all know about this gentleman. He's been on my show at least twice. You probably can look it up in the, type it into the search engine and find when he was on my show previously. Definitely had a good time speaking with him every time that I've talked to him. And so welcome to the show. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Appreciate it. And Christian is your name?
Yes.
Okay, nice meeting you. And first of all, congratulations on what you've achieved. First of all, that's a pretty remarkable story.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
It is crazy, isn't it? It is a crazy story.
Well, congratulations. But I'm not sure if you know who I am or what I do. But
No, I don't. That's okay.
okay, well, it's not a big deal. Anyway, now you personally, you don't have a personal mortgage?
That's why I say that's why I was saying that the money on the new house is missing. That's why I brought that up just now.
No, I'm asking you. You don't have a personal mortgage.
I do now, yes.
You do have a personal mortgage now.
Yes.
Can I ask you a question? So, so your net worth is, would you say 3 million?
It runs somewhere between 2.5 and $3.5 million based on what you're counting against me on assets. When I fill out personal financial statements with banks, sometimes they will, like some of my dad's stuff, they will cook that in there because I have insurance policies on those things and my name is tied up on it on public records. And then other things, right?
So these properties are bank owned, correct?
No, what do you mean by bank owned?
Are you making mortgage payments on your properties?
No, not on all of them. No.
On
some of them are free and clear.
Now, I'm just curious, why would you have a personal mortgage with free and clear business properties?
What do you mean? Why would I have a personal mortgage?
Why would you have a personal mortgage when you could, but you have a few business properties free and clear?
Because I'll just have a personal mortgage on my own personal home.
Why wouldn't you pay for it in cash? That's what I'm asking. Your personal house.
I already told you my cash position is not as strong as it could be. I could liquidate some of my portfolio and pay for my personal home off. I could do that anytime I want to.
Well, I'm gonna say something to you, okay? So, and you can take it or leave it, but remember this statement: if it's not mathematically true, it's psychological. Okay.
Okay.
So if you open up your calculator, put in your mortgage payment minus your mortgage balance, the calculator will clearly show that you're not a homeowner. Correct?
That is correct. Yes.
Okay. And the same goes for your property. So say like you have you kind of mentioned a couple properties that you have a mortgage on and you're cash flowing. Okay, you said
Correct.
you're cash flowing, correct?
Yes.
Same thing on your business. Now, business debt and personal debt are different. So I'm not saying anything negative about your business debt. I just want to show you something. Okay.
Okay.
So if you open up your calculator on one of your business properties and put in your mortgage payment minus your mortgage balance and hit equal, that's your cash flow. You don't cash flow until the bank gets their money back.
Yes, so technically, yes.
No,
Until you're
no.
free and
Now,
clear.
see,
Yes, until
see
you're
the way
free
you
and
use
clear.
your
Yeah.
words, and I'm just saying you because I believe you're a very smart brother. Okay, that's why I'm telling
I
you.
understand what you're. I understand what you're. I understand the concept. Yes, we're going to get into
No.
that. Trust me. I
Okay,
understand the concept of
technical.
what you're saying.
Now listen, technical concept stuff like that. I'm just talking math, which is factual.
Yes.
Okay, so try not to
100%
use the word
understand.
technical, and so I'm just saying
Yes. 100%
you
understand what
cannot
you're saying.
cash flow until the bank gets their money back first, because the reason why you went to the bank is because you couldn't buy the house yourself.
Correct. Yes.
Okay. So if you
Yep.
take that information and understand that, like if you say that to yourself, you could be a true multi-million-dollar net worth, a true one,
Okay.
mathematically speaking.
Yep.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
Because you're definitely on the right track, man. Definitely, definitely on the right track.
Yes. Yes. I am not liquid. I am not $1 million liquid. You are correct.
Okay. No,
If
and I
if
mean
you
that.
sold
Congratulations to you.
everything right now, how liquid could it be?
Well, I could probably well, I would probably walk with high twos.
High twos. Yeah, so that's why I guess I'm arriving at the same place that I was at before. You know, why sell? Like, it would be nice to be liquid. It would be nice. It would feel good, but I
I
don't
would not
understand.
sell. I agree with you, but no, I would not.
Okay.
Christian, I would not say. I would not have a mortgage payment, though. I know that would be off the table ASAP.
So
That's
what you
first
would
thing.
do, you probably would sell you probably would sell some properties just to get rid of the mortgage payment,
Correct.
and then have zero mortgage payments, and then go
Correct.
forward with whatever cash flow got coming in, purchase properties cash going forward, and then use all the income coming, and then gradually buy more and more and more. But
Yeah,
it would
because
all
the
be
difference between personal debt and business debt, personal debt you pay back. Business debt, your customers pay back.
Technically, my customers are paying all my debt. If you think about it.
What's that?
Technically, my customers are paying all my debt. If you really think about it.
Technically, yeah. But just to like, here's another example, Christian. When I do business with people, I exchange personal credit reports. So I say, in order for me to do business with you, I will show you my personal credit report, and you have to show me yours. And why do I do that? Because I want to see if that person owns the business of themselves first.
Okay.
So I made a video showing me logging into my Credit Karma, showing my personal credit report. Now, nobody on YouTube has ever done that. Nobody. I'm the only person that has done that. And there's a reason why I've done that, because it shows it's like a financial passport to say if a person's talking shit or not.
Okay.
Now, you get to that level, Christian,
Uh-huh.
you'll be unstoppable. I can already tell. You'll be unstoppable.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, I don't have a desire to get on YouTube. I was simply the reason why I wanted to
No,
start
it's nothing to
speaking.
do with YouTube. I'm just telling you something.
Yeah, I get it. I get what you're saying, and like I said, we've had discussions about. My wife actually said there was one property. She said, "Why don't we sell this one property and we clear the deck?" She's brought that up twice in the last 2
Clear
years.
which debt? Business debt or personal debt?
Clear the whole deck. Clear everything. Clear out everything. Just knock it all out. Go back to zero. We don't know. We owe no one nothing at that point.
That's all. I mean, that eliminates all your risk. You would have very, very low risk if you did that. Would I do it? Probably not. I just let my customers pay for it off, but it counts on the situation,
Yeah,
But
and again, it's something I am thinking about. Like maybe we go ahead and do that. Just clear the deck, right? But then I also think about it as what I could sell that same property, and I could go make some more money, put it into something else to make some more money, because I'm thinking there's probably other things I could get into that has. I want to necessarily get out of the real estate stuff. I mean, that will always be my core thing. But there's other things I want to maybe try to see if I can make money doing.
Well, let me show you out a different way. Imagine if you paid off your mortgage, you could take that money and invest in more properties. If you didn't have a mortgage, you could
Correct.
take that money. While millions of people believe they're homeowners with mortgages, you will be one, and you could take that money
Yeah.
and invest in properties by not
Correct.
having no personal debt. Put it this way, and you can just listen to my words. I personally own nothing. Personally.
Okay.
That's the key. Personally.
Gotcha.
That mortgage is holding you back.
100%
Not
understand
not
that.
literally like you can't do nothing, you ain't got no money. I'm just saying
Yeah,
from a
it's
financial
overhead.
Yeah, I was
Yeah, it's
saying.
overhead. It's overhead that you have to service. You have to make that money every month. Otherwise, if you don't, you're going to have other problems. You understand who you're talking to at this point? I mean, I'm not trying to say that like that, but I get the concept. Like, I'm not some dude
That's
on
why
the
it
street
surprises
living.
me that you have a personal mortgage. That really surprises me, honestly. It does.
Okay, I mean, I have a personal mortgage.
Okay.
Yeah. Dude, but let me ask you this, Christian. Getting and this is something that we've had a debate about on before, because about far as a mortgage, a house, home, a home owned by the bank, you got a mortgage or everything, but taking out a loan that gets you in the game sooner to make moves and move things around. It's it's like, so I mean, we've had some debate on the show whether or not that's the better way to look at it. I guess that's probably the perspective that you have with it, or no?
I'm
If you
sorry.
understand.
What do you mean? Say that again.
Oh no, I guess simply what I'm getting at, with your personal mortgage that you have, that basically, I mean, yeah, it would take more time, saving up the money, or you would lose a property to get that money to buy you have to sell a property, then you end up, you lose that property or sell that property to get that money to buy your personal house that you wanted, or you save up that money to buy it, but just taking out the mortgage for it, that gets you in the driver's seat sooner. I
Yeah.
guess a lot. Yeah.
So the house that we bought, that's our forever home. This is where we want to live. This is where we want to stay. I told my wife next time I'm coming out of that house is in a flag draped coffin. That's it. This is it for me.
Okay.
All right.
Gotcha.
So that's where I'm at. Now, on the flip side, there was a strategic reason for this purchase.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of U.S. consulates and embassies in our area. And so while this house that we were buying was on the market, they had an offer from a consulate that they were going to rent the house for $5,000 a month, right? But that wasn't the condition it is. So we're saying, hey, if in 7 or 8 years we want to move, we could put out that thing that, hey, we're open to having this thing out to consulates or embassies or whatever. If we could get $8,000-9,000 a month for it, cool, we'll do that. I don't care. And we'll move back into the house we've been house hacking for the last 8 years.
Yeah. No, yeah, definitely good stuff. Definitely good stuff. The link is in the chat. We actually at the 2-hour mark. I didn't know how long we was going to be going with this one, but the link is in the chat. If anybody else has any questions that you want to come up and ask Christian. I mean, it's not too often we got somebody up here who got this kind of success in the real estate game. So you definitely want to come on through. You got any questions, anything you want to know? We definitely poured out a lot of good information, a lot of good game for y'all today. Car designer Chris in the building. He says, I'm not knocking a paper millionaire who is not a liquid millionaire. He's more what do you mean by liquid? I don't even get the concept paper millionaire. I mean, I understand what you're saying. However, I mean, he owns the majority of his property outright.
Do you know what liquid means? I
understand what liquid means, but I
mean,
understand
but I'm saying it means bank owned. That's what that means.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So you said liquid doesn't mean bank owned.
No, liquid means bank owned.
Okay, so I got the
No,
definition.
liquid means that you're free and clear, because that means
Yeah, that's what I thought.
yeah. I mean, liquid means the money's in the bank. Means the money's in the bank, or maybe it's in secure. It's in tier one capital. That's whenever we talk about liquid, we mean that you're in tier one capital, meaning that you could convert to cash within under 30 days, right?
I don't know.
That was generally how I understood it. So
That's how I learned what liquid was in college. Tier one capital, meaning you could convert to cash in under 30 days. Cash, gold, precious metals, securities, bonds.
exactly, yeah. So yeah, I mean, yeah, he's a millionaire through the properties that he owns, and he owns most of them outright, free and clear, with no mortgage on it. So that's the majority of the people who you Google their net worth. If you Google somebody's net worth and it says $50 million, trust and believe this person does not have $50 million sitting in the bank. He owns it, and he has that $50 million net worth in assets. So everybody who you know to be a millionaire, it's their assets that make them a millionaire. So the $3 million net worth that he has, it's in assets. So it's the same thing.
Yeah, but there's two types of net worth that a lot of people don't know. There's two types of net worth. There's net worth with no bank involvement, and then there's net worth with bank involvement.
Okay, so all right, I think I know where you're going with this. Let's play this game, because whatever. I'm not working today. So
am I playing the game?
No, I mean let's no, because look, bank involvement. So you're telling me that I would have something of value that I have no legal jurisdiction, that has no legal recourse. Why we use banks is because of I can have the money in the bank, and if someone tries to steal it, it can be insured, it can be tracked. If I have stuff outside the system, I open myself up to all sorts of risk. And when people talk about this stuff, it all sounds good. You know, it's all these people who are doing this cryptocurrency stuff. They say, oh, it's unregulated, all this stuff. You know what's the first thing they're all doing who actually have the money? They want to immediately get legal jurisdictions. That way, if I steal it or something happens to it, they can have it called on an insurance
policy. I'm with you. I'm for you. I'm not against you. No, I know exactly what you're saying, because you're talking business debt. Okay. I'm all for business debt.
Okay.
I'm all for it. I understand what you're saying. All I'm saying is, if you put the numbers in the calculator, regardless if it's business or personal, and you put the mortgage payment minus the mortgage balance and hit equal, the calculator says you do not own it. That's all I'm saying. That's it.
That's just for that one property. But when you add up the calculator with all of his properties, it says he's worth about at least $2.5 million. So
well,
I mean, that's why.
I mean, personally, I would add up his property that he owns versus the properties that are bank owned. That's me. That's how I look at it. That's all. It's not either. I mean, Christian's doing good. I ain't tripping on that. I'm not knocking his hustle or nothing. I'm with him. Well, all I'm saying.
Right on. All right, we got somebody else coming through. But LJ, thanks for coming through. I do appreciate you. Appreciate you. So yeah, we'll be in touch. Thanks for coming on through. We got Azrael in the building. Got questions for Christian. What's going on? Welcome to the show. Anybody else got questions? Y'all can come on in. We bid them in, get them in. Yeah, y'all can come on, and we can and then we could get up out of here.
Oh no, I was gonna say he was right on that. Liquidity. If it's more than a year, that means it's a long-term investment. But liquidity, whenever they do general ledgers, you'll have your PPP equipment, you'll have your land and cash, and which one is the most liquid would be the one that's easiest to convert into cash, right? Mm-hmm. So I would say for him, yes, people, I mean, it's either or. I mean, it's better than most. If somebody says your net worth or your assets, or your high assets in terms of your investment portfolio is in land and real estate, is like, okay, people might say, well, you can't convert that easily, but still you'll convert it soon. It will eventually happen, not necessarily sooner than later.
Just to let you know, and just to let you know, all the stuff that I'm holding, I could convert it to cash in under 90 days.
That's perfect. I mean, most people can't convert it in less than a year. I mean, if you do it in a year, you're lucky.
Yeah,
6 months is real, you know.
I could all my stuff I could convert to cash in under 90 days.
Yeah. So, yeah, that's definitely why when I get my accounting degree, I'm gonna hit you up. I'll do your taxes for you. um, but I wanted to ask your take on terms of credit scores, right? I know we spoke about this before on BTB. Shout out to Before the Billionaires. He's the
Shout
incubator
out,
for a lot of
salute.
this. Yeah, a lot of the financial talk that we do. But what's your take in terms of the threshold that companies, or not companies, banks are looking for? I would say, you know, if you're hovering, let's say you're a young dude, you're hovering around like in the high 600s, you want to get it to what, like 720 is where you know you can
720,
get it.
yeah, 720 is the gold standard, right? 750 in some cases. I'll be honest, like I rarely am up at 720, but at this point, I have my net worth is at such a level that when I go into banks, they give me prime rates. They're giving me prime rates, or if the prime rate, if their top rate is 3%, they're giving me 3.25 or 3.3. You know what I mean? Like it's nominal. You know what I mean? So
Oh, so how do you get that? Because now that I have a question for that, and I know you, as you know, I definitely know you keep up with Yahoo Finance and the Times and the FT. What is because think about it. We're at, remember I was me and you and BTV were talking about this before with the federal rate hike, and I was even telling my mom, like, I was telling her I think you should wait it out another 2 years before you buy a house. But go ahead. How would you get that 3% in terms of your mortgage interest rate?
well, you can't get that now. That I think that ship has sailed because of the overall rates have on a 30-year. You might be able to pull it off on a 15-year, get down to 3%. But I think a 30-year, I checked last week, was up at near 5%. So I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah.
but you might be able to do something at 15. Oh, just look, this is not financial advice. If you want
Yeah.
I
financial
know.
advice,
Yeah,
go
yeah. I have to put that
please go
discretion out there.
please go to Pocket Watching with JT or someone like that, certified financial planner. I'm just telling you how I would look at it. This is financial information. I think that those for the in the near term, I think those rates have those days have sailed. And so, but I
Damn.
think what you might see is you were saying how your mom wants to get into a house, and I was saying, well, she could do it like this, and this is how you pay for it. And I told you about that on BTV's channel. That's just, I mean, I wouldn't be caught up with the rate because this is just me personally how I'm seeing things go. If you do not have a home in the next 3 to 5 years here in this country, it's going to be very difficult for you to get one
Yeah.
because
It's yeah.
they're not building. They're not building at the rates they were, and they're not going to because because another thing is too, you have to understand we have a low population growth. So the thing is that you don't have the bodies to fill the homes, even if you build
Yeah.
them at this point. So I would be very if you do not have a home, and I'm not just saying this comment in real estate, I'm just saying practically, because if you do not have a home, you're going to expose yourself to housing costs over your lifetime.
Mhm.
Now, could housing costs decrease? Yeah, they could, or they continue to go up. So, what you're doing when you buy your own home is you're locking in your biggest expense monthly at a payment at the rate that you're at now. So,
Mhm.
if you can pay $1,500 a month today, that means in 10 years, you're still paying $1,500 a month. If you're subject to inflation, okay, at 5%, that payment would be $2,300.
Yeah. That's see, now that's the crazy thing. And I'm on the younger millennial side, and I know I took your advice in terms of not, because we spoke before. I was like, I wanted to leave New York and to go to LA, but I realized what I'm gonna do is probably go to somewhere around Orange County and try to get a house under 250. I could do that, and the rent would be just like what you said. It would be no more than 1,600, to be honest with you. But it's just crazy to me because the federal rate already went up, I believe, already twice this year.
Oh, it's going
And
to go
I
up. It's going
remember
to go up 4 more times, 5 more times,
that's
maybe.
see, I thought it would go up two more times, like maybe one time in the summer and then another time at the end of the year, right? But it's crazy because it's like, granted, if you have a house, you'll be good because inflation has its benefits, has its perks because your home value goes up, it increases.
Yeah, yeah.
But
If you're an
I'm like,
asset holder, yes. If you're an asset
yeah,
holder, inflation is kind of like it can be a very good thing for you. Yes.
yeah. But man, it's like you would assume that once you get the property, you'd be able to hedge against inflation, but it's just it's like if you don't get into the market, like you said, in the next 2 years, you kind of cooked. But you know, that's an interesting thing. Somebody was saying Lancaster, Palmdale, San Bernardino. I saw some houses that I liked in Huntington Beach for like $250. I don't have kids or whatnot, so I could easily pay off at least a third of that in down payments. I don't even probably won't use an FHA loan for the first house I get. It'll probably be for the second one, you know. But it's just crazy, man. I don't. And they're saying that you're trying to do a increase on in terms of how much you pay for cars. So the government is basically trying to prevent people from buying more cars right now because of inflation.
I don't know about the ends of that. I know that the car companies are general are starting to feel the pressure for pricing because of increased interest rates combined with the cost of a new car has went up so high that
Yeah,
it's pricing out people to buy it, right? So that has issues. You know what I mean? Because you
yeah,
got to have people buy the new car, but with the model that the car industry is going to go to here is going to be transportation as a service. What's going to happen is you're going to pay it's going to be like transportation as a service where you're going to pay a subscription and you're not going to own your own vehicle because the argument is that a vehicle you pay a lot of money for low utilization. So what happens is people are essentially paying $600 a month and they only use the vehicle 2 hours a day. So it's
yeah,
a very low utilization of an asset. But what they're going to turn around and do is you're going to have transportation as a service, and you're end up going to pay like $9,000 a month, and you're going to be on that wheel forever. See, the thing is, when you buy a car after you have the note paid off, is that, for instance, I had a 2012 I have a 2012 Regal. I paid that car off in 2015 or something like 14, 15, something like that.
yeah,
No, I'm sorry, 2017. I paid that car off in 2017. So that car still runs. I've been driving that car for what's that? 5 more years. So I paid for it for 5 years. I'm driving for 5 years. That car still running. It could probably run another 5 to 10 years. So who cares if I paid $26,000 for a car and I get 20 years of use out of it?
yeah. You know, it's I'm on more and more. I'm getting to your wavelength. I wish. See. I didn't make I'm still young, but my issues when I was younger, it wasn't I was getting into trouble. I would get discouraged in certain things, right? So that was my thing. Like a business wouldn't work out, and I get a little discouraged about that, and then I might stand still for a while, but I pick it back up. But I
So
appreciate your story, man.
so in pocket watching when JT talks about this and Orlando Miner talks about this, see, this is no way a shot at like the you know entrepreneur YouTube or Twitter LLC or all this stuff. What did you hear? What was the thing you heard? The biggest thing people could do to get on the path to wealth is get a high paid skill or get a well paid or high paid skill,
Yeah,
buy your home, and save your money. It is that simple. When people start talking about all this other stuff, it's all gets that stuff is all like that's all like it's too much. Do those three things. If you do those three things, get yourself to 500,000 net worth or something like that. If you want to start doing some of this other stuff that people are talking about, sure. But I think 500,000 net worth puts you at least in the top 10% of households.
yeah,
It might put you in the top 5%. Do
yeah.
that first. What's the one guy? He's a big he's the big guy who everyone describes to him. He's the finance guy. He
Richard Fain.
Dave Ramsey.
Dave Ramsey.
Ramsey. Yeah.
Dave Ramsey. What he's talking about, that's the basics, blocking and tackling. In fact, you want to hear something funny? The same stuff that Dave Ramsey talks about, they have financial literacy in boot camp in the Air Force. Any of my Air Force veterans know this. He's saying the exact same stuff they tell you in boot camp in the military about how to handle your money. They have like a 4-hour block about how to handle your money in the military. And Dave Ramsey has literally built a multi-million-dollar empire on telling people the same stuff they tell 18, 19-year-olds in boot camp in the military. This is
Yeah.
real basic stuff.
What advice would you give to someone buying their first house? Or
Make sure
first
you
property?
get your good value for it. Don't overpay. Get good value, and make sure that and look at the demographics in the area to see if it's in line for appreciation.
What if you're buying a single property instead of a multifamily? For example, if you were
So
my scenario,
me personally, if you're just starting out, to me, buying a single family home, unless under certain conditions, does not make sense for a lot of people. I think you could get more bang for your buck doing the house hacking thing because of you get to, even if you do not want to get into real estate, that 3 to 4 years that you do not have to pay a mortgage will give you so many options in the future. So you just deal with having a tenant in the, renting out the place next to you or above you or whatever for 3 to 5 years. And that money, if you just say, I want to sell the place, if you decide you want to keep going to real estate, whatever you decide to do, not paying a mortgage or a rent for 3 to 5 years will change your financial situation. It will. Just think about what your rent is right now. Imagine if I told you the next 6 months you didn't have to pay rent. Heck, we all see this. Look at what people were doing with COVID. They didn't have to pay their rent. Yeah, they had moratorium. We just saw 2 years of moratorium. Look what people were doing with their money. If they were investing it, they probably will come out of it looking really good. But if they were going to Tulum, buying Gucci purses, right?
Yeah, drinking a lot of liquor.
Yeah, buying higher liquor.
And crab legs,
yeah. If they were doing that, then yeah, they're not in a better position. But when you have an opportunity to not have to pay, that's why when people go overseas, like corporations, like you have an opportunity to be an expat, you go overseas to live. What happens is people go over there. If you get a foreign assignment, you don't have to pay a mortgage for 2 years or 3 years. Yeah. Those people come back loaded with money. So not only did you go overseas to go work at whatever company in Europe or in Asia or something like that, you also did have to pay housing for 2 to 4 years. And you come back stateside and you're loaded.
Yeah. Aram is asking a good question here. I think I know what the answer is, but it's good to just go ahead and throw this out there. She's asking, does Christian have any socials to promote or email he wants to share or anything like that? Anything you want to promote? I don't know.
No. I haven't monetized.
So.
I haven't monetized this. I have no desire to monetize it. I've had people approach me in the past to monetize, the stuff I know about, and I say, I tell them, I give them the ISBN number for the book on Amazon. It's called Hold. Everything I talked about, how I put my money together and did that with the real estate, it's a $7 book on Amazon. Go get it.
Yeah.
Read it. It's like 140 pages. You'll be done in the afternoon.
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm where I'm at with it. See, I don't want to say nothing about anybody. There's a lot of people that give a lot of good information that they sell, but I think what you just explained pretty much trumps over that, and it trumps over it in really a sentence. You said basically get a skill that pays well or at least pays good. What were those three? Say those three things again. Let me make sure I got them right.
Get a high paid or well paid skill.
Mm-hmm.
Buy your home.
Mm-hmm.
Save your money.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. Get to your first 500,000 and then start thinking what you're going to do next.
And don't go into debt. Yeah, don't go into debt on a depreciating asset, a significant depreciating asset.
Well, it'd be a car. People have to have a car that's a depreciating asset, right? So, when you live by, there's some things, I wouldn't get caught up in that. Yeah.
Let's say we're in IT. Don't go and you start dating and one night your girlfriend's like, oh, let's get a G-Wagon. Don't do that.
Don't do that.
Yeah, I mean, and the most important part of what you're saying in those three things, when you're talking about buying a home, paying it off. If you can get it without having a mortgage, even better. And then that's where that saving that money comes in. Shout out to Nagone 11 in this space. He used to say, I forgot what he say, get your mind right, get your money right,
get your body right.
Get your body right, keep your overhead low and your savings high. That's what you want to do. You want to try to get that overhead as low as possible. And then that savings with what's coming in, you want to save as much of it as possible. That will give you all the flexibility that you need. That's pretty much the name of the game on that one. Pretty much the name of the game on that one.
I don't know.
Go ahead, Chris. Go ahead, Christian.
Yeah, so people are going to say, how do you say that? And I did this convoluted, I did all this wheeling and dealing to make the money I made, right? So that's what people are going to say. Well, okay. Looking back at it, first of all, that was all very high risk, right? That was extremely high risk. Another thing is too is I was in a very unique position of the climate here in Metro Detroit in terms of we had major bankruptcies of the city and of two major employers, and we had a U.S. recession. So I had a very low barrier of entry to grab a lot of assets, and all I had to do is I just needed a little bit. If you think about it, it was not a lot of money. I think it was like in total from 2013 to 2015, 16, when we went on the little buying spree. I think in total we only put up like $325,000. I say only, but it didn't take that much. If you think about it, it basically 10x'd. If you think about it like that.
Yeah, that's what I was hearing when you were telling the story. It snowballed. It literally just went from the point, okay, you had your income and you had to pull off a rabbit out of the hat trick to get that first property. But once you got that property, both of you had your income, then you had the other rental property, then the multi-unit. Yeah, once you got there, it was the ball was rolling. You put a property on top of a property on top of a property, and then
man was playing Monopoly.
That's literally what it can turn into. It can turn into you playing Monopoly with real money. literally.
But also look at how long it took, right? I want to make it very clear. Look how long it took. This didn't happen overnight. And I'll be honest, I didn't really start feeling the money until 2018, 19.
Yeah.
I mean, yes, the money was coming in. Yes, we were going on vacation. Yes, we were going out to eat. Yes, we could. But, just because you have that net worth, I think that's another thing, too. People have to realize that what the position I'm in is really no different than the position you guys are in terms of the day-to-day basis. But what I can do is if there's a downturn in the economy, I can weather it. If in terms of my long-term financial picture with my retirement, that's kind of taken care of.
You're recession proof, to be honest with you, because you have all your assets to hedge against inflation, so you're good. You can't lose, really.
Well, things can still go wrong. Let's not get twisted. It can all still go wrong. But for instance, if I ran into a real problem, right, I could basically liquidate and get out of it and just walk away, right?
Yeah.
So that's that. So, but I'm still, I know I'm not one of these people making $500,000 a year and I can just go do whatever I want. No, I have a high paid job. It pays well, but I can't just spend, $12,000 this month just because I feel like it, right?
Yeah.
Now if I want to go make a big ticket purchase on something, like if I say, oh, I want a boat, I can go get a boat.
Nice.
Right. But I don't want a boat, right? That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
No, they always say what the average millionaire has. I was gonna say the average millionaire has 7 streams of income. So I know you at least have half of that. So that goes to show you, if you at least aim for the 7 streams, you'll definitely get to millionaire status.
Yeah.
Well, if each property is a stream of income, you got a lot more than 7.
Oh, damn. Well, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I didn't know. I was in and out. Okay, cool.
Yeah, you got a lot of properties. You got a lot of property. They were on the share screen. I'm not gonna pull it back up, but all right. I think we covered it. Nobody else is coming up. We don't got anybody else coming for questions. I'm gonna drop you down, Azrael. Thank you for participating in the show. And Christian, man, I do gotta thank you for this. The very few people tell their story, and some people who do tell their story, they got something that they're trying to sell. So it's like you ain't trying to sell nothing. He just want to get it out there. He just wanted to walk us through the process. If you came in late, I'd highly recommend you go back to the beginning and just listen to just the walk through the process of how he got to the point he is right now, where at least give or take about a $3 million net worth. It's definitely a great story. You got anything you want to leave us with before you go? Any final words? Anything you want to leave us with before we get out of here?
So people are going to say, why am I talking about this publicly? I want to talk about this publicly because I want guys who are under the age of 45 to realize they could get here too. Not by saying they got to get to where I'm at, but I'm telling you, if you get to 500,000, your life will be different. Okay, your life will be very different. You will be in a different situation. Your opportunities that you'll have will be very different. Second thing is, I really want people to understand that this took time. You had to be deliberate. There was things that I had to not do. There was things I did do to get there. And I think too often we think this stuff is there's a shortcut. Again, this took, really, if you think about it, this journey started in 2006. That's where this journey really started, because I got back in college and I was working and saying, okay, I'm going to do what I was supposed to do. When my dad sat me down and he slid the paper across and told me to sign the contract, that's where this started.
Yeah, your dad taking control of your life. He basically took control, took charge, and got you on the right track. That's definitely a good message. Something we talk about a lot on this channel. We talk about the importance of fathers being in the life. Yeah, go ahead.
And then the last thing is, people talk about, some people are going to, I know there's going to be reaction videos who are going to detract from me because of, his dad helped him or his wife's family helped him. We talk all this stuff about intergenerational wealth. What I'm trying to show is just a little bit of money, a little bit of capital. Look how far it goes if it's available at the time that it's needed. So when we sit here and talk about, I want to have intergenerational wealth, but then we say, just because my in-laws or my dad had access just a little bit of money, it wasn't even a lot. Look what it was able to do, because at the time that it was needed, when the opportunity presented itself, you had the money, you had the plan, and it all came together. So I understand there's going to be reaction videos. People say, this. That's what intergenerational wealth looks like. That's what it is.
Yeah. Well, all right. Everybody who participated in the show today, whether you like, share, subscribe, super chatted, cash app, did anything to support the stream in any way, shape, or form, I do appreciate you. Shout out to the couple people that came up and participated in the conversation. All of you in the chat room, everybody, thank you so much. And with that said, we are out of here.
Bernard, can we talk after this? Can we talk after this, me and you?
Oh yeah, we'll talk. Yeah, no doubt. Always. That's almost standard procedure. Yeah, we out of here, y'all. Peace.